3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Is that the worst thing you can do to a coworker? Is take their Diet Dr. Pepper out of the fridge? Because I didn't do it, but the thought crossed my mind. And actually, my second thought was, wow, Maggie would just kill me if I did this.
I mean, listen, you could sleep with somebody's wife. That'd be worse.
I don't think it's
taking their soda, but
you mean like Boston Celtics? No, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think that's worse. I mean, I think it's about time. If I had put a Diet Dr. Pepper in the fridge to go with my lunch and somebody took it, I
would be more upset than if I was like, hey, by the way, Dale is sleeping with your wife.
That Dale. Dale. I would want to.
And he's got Dr. Pepper. Dale, you're forgiven.
I would want to punch Dale if he was sleeping with my wife. If he took my Dr. Pepper, it'd be full-on attack.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. These low-carb rinds can get you through the daily grind. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. It's Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row in Phoenix. We are getting closer to the Super Bowl, Perloff, but that's not the story today.
It's not?
No, football takes a back burner today because if you're not convinced that LeBron is the greatest now, you're never going to be convinced. Like, if you didn't watch last night and gain more of an appreciation for his longevity, for his career, for his ability to maximize his talent, the high level he's still playing at 38. If you haven't gotten there by now, you're never going to get there, and and you're missing out.
Well, let me just clarify something.
Yeah.
Say you're involved in a LeBron-Jordan debate at the local bar.
Yeah.
You're saying because of what happened last night, that pushes LeBron over the edge? that he hit a turnaround jumper in a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder at the end of the third quarter. And I actually had to go back and look at who won the game. I didn't know what happened after LeBron shot. That was the moment. Oh, you know what? You're right. That's better than Brian Russell, Jordan pushing him off and hitting that jumper. A little turnaround jumper in a loss to the Thunder, who's a losing team. There was that, as I predicted it would be, had anticlimactic written all over it.
Wow, you're the only person who I've heard say that today, that was anticlimactic. We knew he was going to break the record last night. Once he had 20 at halftime, you're like, all right, this is going to happen. They set up, a little thing happens with him and his two sons on the sideline. Am I going to break it? All right, let's go do it. It's kind of like a fun thing. But you knew it was going to happen, and it turned out to be a fadeaway jumper. But it's not just about last night. But what last night drove home, at least to me, about LeBron was the recognition of the full career. Because LeBron isn't even known as a scorer. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the crazy thing, for him to hold this all-time points record in the NBA when for so long and early in his career, we talked about how he deferred too much and that he passed up the ball in crucial moments. And he was more of like a Magic Johnson than he was a Michael Jordan, right? And he was more of wanted to be a facilitator, team game. And the fact that he now, with his ability to keep his body right, his dedication to the game and himself, he's never shortchanged himself or the game.
That's code word for compiler.
No,
just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So Kareem was the all-time leading scorer. Nobody thinks he's the greatest player ever.
Well, there could be a case for Kareem to be the greatest player.
No, there could not.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of players, not to go on sports talk radio.
Nobody's going Kareem over Michael Jordan. No. Maybe two people who watch him play in New York City. No one's going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No one's going Karl Malone as the second or third best player. Scoring it's compiling a ton of numbers. And honestly, I love LeBron, too. This is not what makes him special. There's so much more to it. He's a winning player. And the fact that he lost the game, to me, I know the game means nothing. It's just not a signature moment of his career. This little turnaround jumper over a guy I can't even name. I was just looking. I can't find his name. I have no idea who that was.
Kenrich Williams, of course, from the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
Now, listen, you want to talk about how the Lakers are screwed this year? Definitely. Unless they make some kind of miracle trade. I mean, I thought at some point...
Wait, they have the greatest player ever and Anthony Davis. They're screwed as if they're the victims of this?
No. Anthony Davis is either not healthy or who knows what was going on with him last night. I mean, Russell Westbrook seemed like at one point in the game he was like actively sabotaging LeBron breaking the record last night. This season, they're screwed. I'll give you this even one step further. Once LeBron had to start playing GM, or once he decided to start playing GM, it didn't help his career at all. Now, you could say him moving to Miami, that helped, obviously, got the titles going and everything, and going back to Cleveland was good. But once he started really meddling with the Anthony Davis trade, although it did get a title, with obviously Westbrook, then things got a little hectic and hairy. But put that aside, like, it's not compiling when you are the best player on your team, or argue the best, when you're 38. Like, think about it. LeBron James is averaging 30 points a game this year.
On a losing team.
Okay, but who else is going to score on that team?
38. How many points was that? 30. 30 points a game on a losing team means nothing to me.
Okay, I'm agreeing with you that he's not a great GM. Russell Westbrook was a terrible
Well, if he had
decision.
a good team, he wouldn't be scoring 30 points a game. He doesn't want to score 30 points a game, which is the funny thing.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be scoring 30 points either, but that's another cool thing about LeBron and his career. He has always done the thing that his team needed him to do, you know?
Yeah, and won. He's done the thing that his team needed to do and won. But he's not winning now. Honestly, you could do a LeBron Jordan debate on many levels, but because of this record, I don't think that should factor in. Because if you look at Jordan, the height of his brilliance was all about championships. That's how he defined himself.
Okay, but how about, so we do this a lot with like Tom Brady, Joe Montana.
Yeah.
If you have, of course, Jordan was 6, never lost in a finals, but how about LeBron goes to 8 straight, 9 in 10 years?
Nothing. I mean, does anyone say Jim Kelly's better than Tom Brady? Who went to 4 Super Bowls?
No, but do you consider Tom Brady better than Joe Montana?
Yes.
Okay, well,
everybody does.
Tom Brady went to 10 and won 7. Joe Montana went to 4, won them all.
Yeah, no, I never bought that 4 for 4 thing.
Exactly. So Jordan was 6 for 6, but LeBron is 4 for 10.
No, I understand. The 10 means nothing. He got out of a ridiculously weak Eastern Conference a lot of those times. It means, honestly, does Jim Kelly go on the all-time greats because he made 4 Super Bowls?
No, but he never won, so that's why Jim Kelly doesn't get into the conversation.
No, the trips to the finals.
Getting to the finals, like that, as opposed to, I mean, Michael's career had times where he went went and lost in the first round.
Okay, let's take the first year.
LeBron has never done.
We've done this before.
Yeah.
2007, the first year he made the finals.
Yeah.
They would have been probably the 8th best team in the West. And actually, their number, they would have had no chance of getting out of the West. The East was terrible. I think the following year, Dwight Howard led the Magic out of the East. It was a terrible
We don't
conference
remember, but Dwight Howard gets lost in history. For some reason, his career does not get
getting to the finals doesn't mean anything. Chris Paul made the finals. Has that elevated his career in a way that was significant? No. You have to win rings. This is a Michael Jordan versus LeBron conversation, not a get close conversation.
Well, getting to the finals, I'll disagree with you about how easy that is.
It was easy back then.
You're somebody who wants to put an asterisk on everything. I don't think it was easy when you had, the Boston Celtics with Paul Pierce and with Kevin Garnett. I don't think it's as easy as you remember.
That was the downest time in recent NBA history. It was not hard. I mean,
okay, well then you want to know what? You want to know what then?
Yeah.
Then it doesn't mean as much that your Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl because you guys had the second easiest schedule in the NFL this year. You're frauds.
Okay, and if they don't beat the Chiefs, I will totally agree with you. I will totally 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow did not win last year. He made it to the Super Bowl. Nobody's talking about him as challenging Brady yet. He's got to win one.
Sure.
Anyway, we're doing the thing we promised we wouldn't do.
Well, because you're really the only person who I know who's looking at what LeBron did last night, and not just because he broke the record last night, which I thought was a very good moment. I thought it was
it was cute. I liked it.
It was a great moment to watch.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you just remember, I remember where I was the first time I watched LeBron James on TV when he was still in high school, and I was in a dorm room.
Right.
And now I'm 39, and I'm watching him out there break this record. He's just been with us my whole adult life.
Yeah.
He's been a part of it. So a little bit is how does it touch you personally? But it's just interesting to me that you're the only person who today doesn't want to look at LeBron's career and say, just marvel at it.
I think there's another person. Did you watch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar interview afterwards? He all but said,
he was trying to be gracious.
He was trying his hardest to be gracious, but he's like, LeBron started at 17. Meaning, if I had all that, if I didn't have to go to college, I would have had it too. Kareem, you're right. He tried so hard to be gracious.
Yeah, when he smiles, it's like he's looking into the sun.
And besides, it was a very important sports moment, but there was one thing that sort of really watered it down for me.
What was that?
The little Drake video where he pretends.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
It was funny, but this moment was supposed to have gravity, Maggie, and he does an SNL skit.
He did do an SNL skit.
Yeah, they're like, and I'm at the club with these ladies, and everyone's celebrating LeBron's family, and he's like, Drake, I'm at the club. Come join me later. I don't know what was it.
It was like an Old Spice commercial or something.
Yeah.
You're so right. It didn't match the moment.
No.
And I did think it was funny.
In fact, that made me realize, this moment isn't all that big.
Maybe LeBron or whoever just didn't want to take themselves too seriously. I don't know. Yeah, I thought there was a great moment, too, that LeBron gets choked up. Now, obviously, the emotion of the moment, I think, clearly had an impact on the game, which they they need to start winning some of these games, actually.
Well, it's highlighted how ridiculously meaningless regular season games are right now.
Well, they're not that meaningless if they're going to be trying to make, the playoffs or the play-in. Some of these are going to really start to matter.
That is sad that we're talking about the Lakers trying to make the play-in. I mean, I can't separate that completely. I know I joked on Twitter that I don't know why everyone's focused on the record. A midseason Oklahoma City Thunder Lakers game is the W is the most important thing. And I was totally being sarcastic. And some people were like, yeah, he's got to win this game. It doesn't matter. And, the Lakers will make a run and get the play-in. But there's just... And I think that speaks to why another reason this record scoring seems to have gone berserk lately.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
No one's playing defense, especially not the Lakers.
Numbers don't have that sanctity to me anymore. And this number, as I said last week, this number really, it's a huge deal. It's a massive deal.
Yeah.
It's just different than when Sosa and McGuire were chasing the home run record, or there's just other records to me that have a little more specialness to them. This is incredible. But I didn't remember Kareem doing a skyhook over Mark Eaton. That's not a signature play in NBA history.
No, but the funny thing about that is you think back about those baseball records, they're totally tainted now.
I know now.
Okay, now. So, but we're living now. So, I think back to McGuire and Sosa, and the first thing that comes to my mind is, how we were all fooled. What a sham that whole thing was. Whereas, I have no idea who's taken what, but I don't think this is going to end up being tainted by some kind of performance-enhancing drug.
But do you think it'll be similar to how we all know the clip of Hank Aaron hitting the home run, Tom House catches it in the bullpen, two guys run out of nowhere, Craig Sager interviews him, every detail of that I know there's more history. This turnaround jumper over some random Oklahoma City Thunder dude who I can't even remember his name, and you just told me 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
This
Henrik Williams, get it right.
It's not going to be that kind of historical thing. I know there was more involved with Hank Aaron, but to me, it will not be a signature moment. I think LeBron has other big signature moments.
The block
on Iguodala, yes, and there's some big shots. I don't know. I think it was great. And LeBron came off great. He was wonderful. The family stuff was wonderful.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at sports history. To me, it doesn't rise to a top 10 moment or anything like that.
Man, totally disagree. But 855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. Want to say a big welcome to everyone who's listening across the country on our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. And, of course, the Weedos, the Grainers, the Purple Drankers who are in the chat today and having a great time. Go to youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. This is a very inviting group of people.
Yeah, and you're welcome to join the chat completely sober. I just want to make that.
Yes, you don't have to be on something to listen to our show.
And if you're listening on CBS Sports Radio, hopefully, and in the car,
hopefully you're not on something.
None of those things.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully none of those things. You can get involved in the chat, as I said, a very welcoming bunch, those Grainers.
Yeah, listen responsibly.
It's a good way to put it, although I get why people might want to get enhanced during the show as well. We've got a great one for you today. Not only are we here at Radio Row in the Phoenix Convention Center, so we got plenty of amazing guests for you today, including, you want to talk about GOAT debates?
Yeah.
Joe Montana's going to join us later in the show.
I think he might have something interesting to say about this.
He's basically was like the Kareem role from last night.
Yeah.
We've never had like a formal passing of the torch between him and Brady, but obviously that's he's more the emeritus now. But you think about the shorthand of just all-time great athletes. It doesn't matter if you were born in the year 2000 or you were born in the 60s or 50s, Joe Montana has got to be up there.
But he's not really in the conversation because he just has a bunch of Super Bowl rings. It's really Tom Brady versus Drew Brees
yes.
because they had the all-time passing yardage because that's all that matters.
Yeah, you know how I roll.
I'm being such a jerk. I'm sorry. No, I understand.
You're against the graining right now. It's in your nature.
Well, yeah, but you're also a LeBron over MJ person.
I am because...
we know the arguments, yes.
I am because of all the things that I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, but I am a LeBron over MJ person. And maybe you can blame it a little bit on my age.
Absolutely.
And maybe you can blame it a little on the appreciation for never took a break, 8 straight finals, 9 in 10 years, has played 87 more playoff games than MJ. I can blame it. I saw the Sixers were in the playoffs against MJ, and it was like a kid going up against a person with a machine gun. He was a killer. He really was. But whatever. This is not about that debate, and don't suck me into it, Maggie. Too late. Maggie and Perloff. Okay, coming up next, though, we're excited. Kupp is going to join us. Obviously not the season that the Rams wanted, but Kupp is, should be an MVP candidate if he comes back healthy next year, if Stafford is healthy next year. So we'll talk to him about that. And then later on in this hour, Joe Montana, which I don't care what you do, who you are, anytime you can talk to someone like Joe Montana, that is a privilege and a pleasure. So we're going to do that later on. So glad to have you on Maggie and Perloff. So much to do today. We'll get back to you in just a moment. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff, and we are so pleased to be joined by the Offensive Player of the Year last season, the MVP of Super Bowl 56, Cooper Kupp from your Los Angeles Rams. Cooper, thanks so much for being on with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. You're joining us on behalf of Sleep Number. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first off, you're in LA. We know last year the Super Bowl was won in your home stadium. LeBron James was there to watch you guys. He broke Kareem's all-time scoring record last night. Have you met LeBron? Do you have a good LeBron story?
No, I met LeBron once just at a game we went to last year. But, you know, obviously incredible watching him do what he did last night. I was really hoping I saw him practicing the sky hook pregame. I was really hoping he was going to break the record on a sky hook. But, you know, the little fadeaway was nice too.
Yeah, what if he said he didn't want to have a foul shot to do it? That would have been the worst, right? If he was at the free throw line.
No, I know that would have been the worst. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He got done. I was actually looking. I was like, I wonder I wonder, they play the Bucks on Thursday. And I wonder if it'd be worth going down to try to get a ticket for the Thursday game. But sure enough, he wasn't going to wait for Thursday.
Listen, exceeding our expectations yet again. I love that, you wanted him to do it with the sky hook. Sometimes as fans, we want you guys as athletes to have these perfect moments. When people put those expectations on you, hey, Cooper, can you score 2 touchdowns because it's my birthday or something? Do you how do you internalize it when it's about you?
Yeah, you just, especially football, there's so much out of your control. You just go out there and try to do your job. It's not like I think of some stuff like Derek Jeter, his last game. That's an incredible story. You look at Kobe Bryant, his last game. There's stuff that players have done through time that's like you said, it's storybook. But it's stuff you just let that stuff happen. You let it come to you, and I've never gone into a game feeling like, oh, I have to do this because of some other outside situation. You're so focused on the game plan, being able to execute your job, play in and play out. It's just about taking those things one play at a time.
Cooper, were you aware at all of where you stood for the single season receiving record? And is that, probably a lot of other people were talking about it. It's something that you almost could have set last year, and in the future you could set as well. Is that something that even enters your mind?
I think you're aware of where that stuff is. Going into a game or week by week. I had no idea. During the game where I was with that. You find out afterwards. Where it ends up being. But we had also just lost. That game going into the playoffs. So that was the most mixed bag feeling game ever. You lose the game. You win the conference, or you win the, you win your division, but you lost the game. You're going into playoffs. It was kind of just hey, you kind of want just the day to end and get ready to go, get the playoff games going.
Well, you did set the record for all-time yards from scrimmage for a wide receiver last year, which was pretty cool. And yeah, LeBron was very aware of when he broke the record because they stopped the game and brought everybody on the court for 10 minutes. Cooper Kupp is joining us on behalf of Sleep Number. We'll get to that in a moment. Your recovery from your ankle surgery, how is it going?
So well, yeah. No, I'm in a good place. Excited to be able to get going in this off season, get back out and playing the game I love again.
Can you tell us?
It was first, I'm sorry, Perloff. It was first diagnosed as a high ankle sprain, which obviously is one of the storylines of the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes' high ankle sprain. Can you give us any insight into what Mahomes might be dealing with as he's trying to play through this?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's a high ankle sprain is a very arbitrary, thing. There's, a high ankle sprain can be any one of 4 different, different ligaments or tendons, whatever you want, 4 different ligaments that you're talking about, and it could be damage to one of them. It could be damage to all of them, and you don't know how severe it is. So I don't know what he's going through. It looked like he's battling through some pretty good stuff. Kudos to him for what he did in the AFC Championship game. Very tough competitor. Hopefully, be in a better place after 2 weeks of letting that thing heal a little bit, and we'll see how he is on Sunday.
What is the football mindset? You have 1 game, Super Bowl left. There's a lot of actually receivers who are dealing with injuries. Mahomes and Hurts are both dealing with injuries. Is there sort of everything on the line? I'm just going to fight through it and leave it all out there on the field mentality for, obviously the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's, there's so many guys that happens to guys every year where someone gets hurt, you get hurt, and you've got 2 weeks to try to get back to try to play in this game. That's, you don't know how many of these opportunities, if you ever get this opportunity again to play in a Super Bowl. We had guys, last year that were dealing with injuries, and, in 2 weeks they're doing things to try to get back that, it's a 4-month injury and you're taking 2 weeks and doing everything you can to get back. You have so much respect for these guys and the pain that guys are willing to put themselves through to try to get themselves in a position to go out and be an asset for the team. And it's tough. It's really tough. But you really can't speak on the importance of the stepping on the field and the adrenaline that you get the first time in the huddle. It seems like if you can just get yourself to the game and get on the field, your body just kind of snaps into place.
Yeah, that's the difference between the professional athletes and the people like us. I don't know if the adrenaline would take over as much to let us play. Cooper Kupp is joining us on behalf of Sleep Number. We'll get to that in a moment. And I hate to keep asking about injuries. That was kind of a theme, though, of the Rams season, unfortunately, this year. And Matthew Stafford with a spine injury, 2 concussions. I mean, you talk about guys and how they have to just work to get back on the field. As far as his future, are you concerned for him as a teammate? Because on the outside, those look like pretty serious injuries.
Yeah, well, it's really, that's about him and his family and being able to make that decision. And, I trust in him and his, as they work through that they're going to make a decision that's best for them. And he obviously, absolutely, he's making his decision for his, what's best for him and his family. And that's so much more important than any of the football stuff. So I know that, he's going to put that stuff first as well. So if he's out there, it's because he feels good about where he's at with that stuff. And, I trust him in that. And obviously want the best for him. Excited, have him back and ready to go for this next year and, go pursue another championship.
After the season, Coach Sean McVay talked about, hey, maybe I'm going to step away. It seemed tired. And I think it might have been the Super Bowl when late into the offseason. Was it really hard to recover from, how long the Super Bowl took? It seemed like Coach McVay and maybe the team, that took a lot out of them heading into last season. Did you feel any of that?
Yeah, it is long. I mean, it was literally the longest season ever in the NFL, right? Like it's the first time you got 17 weeks. It was literally the longest season ever. And you play all the way through that thing. It is crazy how quickly the turnaround is to OTAs and, things are going back again. You're trying to recover your body, but also prepare for the next year. It is tough. There's definitely some challenges there, but, I think the amount, I don't know that there's anything, I can only speak on myself. I don't know if there's anything I would have done different in terms of how I treated that time. Everyone seemed like, you kind of snap out of the Super Bowl stuff and you're like, okay, we're going. It's time for this next season. There's so much work that went into, preparing for the 2023 season, for the 2022 season. Sorry. There's so much work that went into preparing for the 2022 season. And, you obviously the results don't show that, but it wasn't for a lack of effort and respect for what this game is about and the work that it takes. It just unfortunately wasn't, the results didn't match the effort. And so now you move into 2023 and you refine some of the things that you did, the processes that you had in the last offseason, and put yourself in a position to go and pursue this next one.
Cooper, we'll ask you about Sleep Number in just a moment. I know we only have you for a few more minutes, but if you could go back a few years when the NFL players had to vote on whether you wanted to add an extra game and add that extra game to the season, if you could go back then, would you still vote to have the 17 weeks or is it just too long?
It is long. When that was brought up in the CBA, I do believe that the NFL kind of led players to believe that this wasn't something that was going to be done soon. It was just, you have a 10-year agreement. It was something that was, in play, in the future. It happened much quicker than I think a lot of the players anticipated it happening. But I do think this is eventually, like, we were going to get here. We're going to get to this place at some point. It happened. You can look back on it and try to, second guess all the stuff that went on in that year, and all the decisions. But here we are. We're in this place. Guys are playing football. I think the product that you see on the field is maybe even with all the stuff that's going on, all the stuff with referees, with all this different stuff that people are saying is affecting the game. At the end of the day, it seems like we're putting together a great product on the field. It's good football, really good games. And I think the talent across this league is some of the best it's ever been. So I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be able to compete against these guys.
Okay, so Sleep Number, the official sleep wellness partner of the NFL, you're partnering with them. Okay, how many hours of sleep are you getting?
Yeah, well, it's not just about. I think that's that's really why I'm here. It's not about just the amount of time that you get. It's the quality. I'm very intentional with how I work out, the way I spend my day. You break yourself down during the day. I think a lot of people think you go to the gym to get strong. You go to the gym to break your body down, and then being intentional with the recovery, how you're fueling yourself, and how you're sleeping. We're intentional about how we work out. We're intentional about how we eat, but then we think we can just get 8 hours of sleep and say it's good. And that's not really how it works. It's being intentional, saying, hey, how good can I get? What's the quality of sleep that I can get to be able to, prime myself to be able to go back out there and do it again the next day. And 80% of NFL players use sleep number beds, and I think that kind of speaks to just kind of the importance of this industry, which is so performance based, and guys understanding it's not just about getting to sleep on time. It's about making sure that when I wake up, I'm ready to go again. And I think that's something that sleep numbers help a lot of people with.
Cooper, can you give me permission as an athlete to nap more often? I feel like football players nap.
I am pro nap. I do stare on the ground. I'm a pro nap person. I think you gain a little. You don't need to be taking an hour-long nap in the middle of the day, though. Give yourself a 10, 15, 20-minute nap and get ready to go.
But how do you do that? Because once I do, I'm going to do a 15-minute nap, and then 2 hours later, I wake up and I don't even know where I am.
This is the secret. You can't get too comfortable. Definitely never nap with blankets on. And what you can do, an old trick, is you hold a pin, and when the pin drops out of your hand, it's time to wake up, right? So you hold a pin and fall asleep. You drop the pin, it's wake up time.
That is some practical advice.
And if I do that, will I have your athleticism? Because right now it's not working.
I can't promise you. I can't promise you that.
Okay.
Results may vary, I think is how they put it. Cooper Kupp is the MVP of Super Bowl 56 and the Offensive Player of the Year last year. On behalf of Sleep Number, Cooper, thanks so much for the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
We're back with more Maggie and Perloff right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We are on Radio Row in the Phoenix Convention Center, and it is our pleasure now.
Of siblings square off in the big game, and both Travis and Jason already have Super Bowl rings, so the experience is not new. Travis said he's enjoyed having the ability to see his older brother and share the experience this week.
We have to talk about what we're going through throughout the week and throughout the games, and it's almost been like therapy, man. It's been cool to hear what he's going through, and just to have some fun with my brother like we always did back in the day.
The Raiders are moving on from Derek Carr, but are allowing him to look for a new home as they hope to work out a trade in the veteran quarterback meeting with the Saints today. The Warriors are in Portland tonight. Klay Thompson gets to celebrate his 33rd birthday in the city where he grew up. His Splash Brother teammate Steph Curry missed Monday's win and will be out a couple of weeks with a knee injury. And the Pacific Division leading Kings end a 7-game road trip in Houston, coming off a win on Monday that's given them a split of the first 6. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is Bill Ryder. CBS Sports Radio has moved to SiriusXM channel 158, and you can always listen to us on your local affiliate station, the Odyssey app, or your smart speaker.
CBS Sports Radio.
5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time to ask the pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I don't like calling you guys listeners. You're part of our family. Simply check out the link, cbssportsradio.com/askthepros, or tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. We are live on Radio Row at the Phoenix Convention Center, and it is just our pleasure to welcome in a Hall of Famer, a four-time Super Bowl champion, the four-time Super Bowl MVP, the two-time league MVP. If we listed the resume, Joe, we wouldn't have any time left to ask you questions. Joe Montana on the set with us today on behalf of Advanced Auto Parts. Got a cool contest going on. We'll get to that in just a moment. You were literally in mid-sentence of a story you're going to tell, so let's just bring it right on the air. Sports Illustrated, many years ago, you posed in the swimsuit issue with your wife, right?
Yes, yes.
And you were telling us, how'd you prepare for that shoot?
Well, I tried to hide the letter because Jennifer looks like that today, as I was telling you, still the same.
Your wife, yeah.
And she was always in great shape. She's just, I had just kind of been relaxed, and she found us. She goes, oh, let's do this. And I would have looked in the mirror and I called a friend of mine that I did some work with, Peter. I think he was Mr. Universe.
Wow, you really brought in the big
guns. And I said, Peter, I need help badly. And I told him what was going on. He goes, okay, you only got, I think I had 6 or 7 weeks before the shoot, and I had to lose a bunch of weight. And he goes, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you the workout. I'm going to give you what you can eat, how you can eat, when to eat it, how to eat, and everything. But you can't, because there's such short time, you cannot deviate off of it.
Wait a minute, Joe. Do you really, did you let yourself go in the off season?
You know what? This was
99, I'm seeing. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I was already out.
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had just gotten to the point where I was just, God, I'm so tired of working out all the time.
Yeah.
And it just slowly put on a little bit of weight here and there. And, I think I had to lose like 19 pounds.
This is a swimsuit issue, though. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, if you were you had no problem walking around day to day.
No.
You knew you were going to be photographed.
Yeah, next to Jennifer.
Yeah.
What do you remember? What was the reaction to the shoot?
Oh, I think it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had fun when we were there. I'm trying to remember who else was in the shoot. There was I can't remember.
I do remember. I remember
Annika Sorensen was there, I think, and I can't remember.
I remember Dan Patrick's show. You told us once about how you were doing push-ups right before the shoot.
Oh yeah,
a party pump.
Had to hurry up.
I mean,
oh no, you know what? They actually ask you if you want. They give you weights. I'm like, oh, weights? What do I want weights for? Well, you want to get pumped up. I go, oh, can I do that? He said, yeah, do whatever.
Oh yeah,
whatever it takes.
We all know the party pump. I do it before every show. Can't you tell, Joe?
Yeah, I know. Perloff, so swole. Hall of Famer Joe Montana is here. He's joining us on behalf of Advance Auto Parts. Can we talk a little about what's going on in San Francisco? Because it's going to be another year and another quarterback. I don't know, question marks after Brock Purdy got injured in the NFC Championship game against Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles. If he's healthy, I know it's a big if he's healthy, Joe, should he be the starter day one, or should there be a competition between him, Trey Lance, and whoever knows?
Just the way he plays and the way he seems to fit into the system, that he would be the guy I would start. While Trey played, I think he played okay during those times. I just don't know if he was 100% ready. You have a Super Bowl caliber team, and if all those guys don't get hurt in that game so fast, I think it's a different game, and they might be sitting here just because they're on par with Philly. They're not as big and as strong, I think, as physical as Philly is, but they definitely could have been here easily. You can't lose your quarterback and your wide receivers.
Yeah.
And your backup quarterback again.
I know. He
goes out, and then what do? You put in the guy who can't throw, and then there's nothing they can do. But I just think that I don't know what's going on with Jimmy, but if I don't hang out down there, so I don't. This is just my thought process, not something I heard from the 49ers. But if Trey's not, they don't believe he's ready. You can't turn over that team to him when you have a guy who's won a bunch of games for you and got you to the Super Bowl. You just can't. I had the same feeling when Jimmy came here after 5 games. He played only 5 games before, right? And how do you pay that much money for somebody, but you don't know whether they can play or not? Here's a little bit different situation. You got 2 guys on rookie contracts still. So you have the ability to keep Jimmy if you can work something out, and until you figure out whether Purdy's healthy or not. But if he's healthy, yeah, do what you got to do. But that injury they have is not a simple one. It's bad.
Yeah.
When you look back on what the Niners did to get Trey Lance, do you think if they had a mulligan, they might rethink their quarterback strategy?
Well, Trey's a talented quarterback, but I'm not sure he may fit in Philly's system as much as he fits in San Francisco's, because San Francisco's not a run option type team, and Trey came from that background. And can he throw the ball in the pocket? Yeah. Is he used to understanding that type of offense? I don't know. I've only met him once, And man, actually, it was the last Super Bowl when we were here.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to turn the team over to when you have a guy that's can go out there and play for you. I don't know what kind of animosity is between him and them and them and him. What's worse side of it with all the things that have gone on, but I just know that if you could get a great start on the season, if Purdy's not ready until he's healthy and he can play, because it's going to take some time to get that done. It took me, I tore a bone off, I tore a muscle off the bone, and it's a long process just getting that throwing.
When was that?
Back. 90, it was, we lost in the championship game in, what was it, 92?
Yeah.
And
is this when you got hurt in the championship game?
In the championship
game, after you had won 2 Super Bowls, and then you got hurt.
So I broke my hand.
Yep.
So I came back from the broken hand, but I was in a cast, so I couldn't throw. And one of the years I'd gotten like 16 weeks in a row cortisone shot in my tendon.
Oh, wow.
Here for tendonitis, so I could play every week. And that eventually wore on there. And I was just playing catch one day in training camp. I'd come back from the broken hand with the guy I played with at Notre Dame, Dave Waymer, just before practice started. And all of a sudden I felt this tweak.
Oof.
And every time I threw, it was a pain. So I went and got checked, and they tore off the bone. So they sewed it back together, drilled some holes, stapled it on the backside. And the rehab from it it's not easy for that. But and what he's getting is even worse, because they're dealing with a ligament in that throwing hand. And so what eventually happened to me is every time I'd throw, one of the staples would zing my nerve. So they had to go take the staple out, and they dinged that nerve again, and I lost all feeling. I had no grip strength in these 3 fingers. So it took me a while all the rehab just coming back from that, and I don't know how they deal with the nerves and all that down there, and hopefully he comes back fast and safe. And but I would want some protection in that first part of the season until you absolutely know. But like I said, what goes on personally between the 49ers and Jimmy, I don't know if there's anything there that way.
It was kind of bizarre. We thought that they kind of seemed to shut the door on it at the end of the season. It's like, you have no idea what's going to happen. Anyway, Joe Montana is our guest here on Radio Row. He's here on behalf of Advanced Auto Parts. Got a really cool contest and promotion that's going on. We'll tell you about it in just 1 minute. We were just chatting before you came on here about watching LeBron James break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record last night. And even if you weren't watching it, you're aware that it happened. And it was like a pass the torch moment. And you've been a part of some of those pass the torch moments. What do you think Kareem was thinking at the time, passing the torch now to LeBron?
I think I've known Kareem for a number of years, but knowing him, it's like anything else. He knows how great he was during his era, and that the game moves on without us, no matter what happens, and it continues to get better. And seeing someone like LeBron do that, he knows what it takes to do that, right? Obviously, so he understands how important it is to LeBron. Well, maybe not to LeBron right now because he's still playing, but when it's over, you have a sense of an accomplishment, and I'm sure that Kareem had that feeling and felt good for LeBron.
Is that how you feel about Brady? Because so many people.
No,
it's funny. You're aware, obviously, the Wright Thompson profile of you that came out today. He's one of the great sports writers that we have. And it insinuated that sort of Brady lives a little bit in your head, Joe.
No, it's just one of those things where the game's so different, and you go, how many. Well, I always joke with Mr. DeBarlo, too, about this. I go, well, if I'd have stayed in San Francisco, how many more would we have won? As I said, because we handed a team that should have won 3 Super Bowls in a row to my backup, right? Without any competition, and in one of the best seasons I had. And so those are things I look at and I think, but it's not about Tom. I mean, watching and enjoying Tom play and have the success he's had, my hat's off to him because I know what it takes to do that, and he's done more than that. So.
In the piece, it says you were rooting for the Seahawks and the Falcons when Tom was playing against them. Is that true?
I always root for the Seahawks and Falcons.
That's just what you do.
Yeah. No, we talked about the games going, okay, how do you lose a game when you're on the 1 yard line and you got Marshawn Lynch?
Oh, I know.
Right? Second of all, why is the quarterback, why do you got to protect that? You can't throw that ball. You got to throw it in the dirt. And let your guy go down and get it. So there's no chance of that. And then why do you call a 7-step drop in Atlanta when you're in field goal range to win the Super Bowl?
Still the great mysteries, Joe, that we're never gonna know.
We all make those decisions.
Joe, can you just
I make a decision.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Could you just rip Tom Brady really bad and give us a headline here? Just say something really mean.
No. Tom's great. I mean, you watch him play, but I think his decision's a good time. I mean, you watch the games there towards the end of the year. It's just his mind's other places, and he's got. It's not like he didn't have a job. He's got a pretty well-paying job after this, doesn't he?
Apparently he does. We got to ask you about what you're doing with Advance Auto Parts because it's a very cool promotion about a quarterback. If they throw over 25 yards, 25 lucky fans will score a year of free gasoline at Shell stations nationwide, plus a $500 shopping spree at Advance Auto Parts. You can just go to advanceautoparts.com. That's where you can register. And this is called the most valuable play.
Yep.
Of course, send up
fun.
to you, Joe Montana.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun to be a part of that, and it also doesn't have to be a quarterback.
Ooh, right.
So you know how we got wide receivers and running backs.
Philly special.
See?
There we go.
Yeah.
Again, you have to go to advanceautoparts.com. That's where you can register. If anybody, I'm not a quarterback, if anybody completes a touchdown pass of at least 25 yards, 25 lucky fans will score a year of free gasoline at Shell stations nationwide, plus a $500 shopping spree at Advance Auto Parts.
Can't beat that, especially at California gas prices.
No kidding. The Hall of Famer, Joe Montana. Always our pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you for having us.
More Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row coming up next. The head coach of the Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera, is going to join us on the set. We're back in just a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
In Pittsburgh, local bowling alley is doing naked night. You got to be totally naked if you're going to bowl. Starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That was a little early for all naked bowling.
I'll tell you where that bag is going. It's going over my head, so I don't have to naked bowlers in Pittsburgh on 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Most sports, if you played them naked, would be just gross, right? Bowling, you could kind of tactfully do that.
No. Everything's swinging around there.
It's not the Big Lebowski.
We're going to bowling. I'm competing to win. Clothes or no clothes. I'm not going to just stand there so my junk doesn't fly around.
I can't think of another sport that you could do gracefully or tactfully while naked. Well, I thought of one. Race car driving. Honestly, who would know?
Get away with it, yeah. I had a NASCAR joke about the Bush brothers that I'm just going to leave to the side.
Don't do it.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rind. Small Batch, big taste. Crunch a low-carb snack that delivers on bold flavor. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're in Phoenix on Radio Row. We just talked to Joe Montana, and he was excellent. If you miss any part or any of our interviews this week, you can always download the Maggie and Perloff podcast. Of course, we are across the country on CBS Sports Radio, our amazing affiliates, and also streaming on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, where Joe Montana looks as young as he ever did, and that was really cool. Okay, lots of NFL headlines to get to because there's some things that have been going on today. Roger Goodell had his state of the NFL press conference. The biggest thing for me out of that, Perloff, was two things. One, that the Washington Commanders are likely to be sold before the owners' meetings in March.
That's very soon.
That is happening quickly. I didn't know you could sell something for $7 billion that fast. But
February 8th today. I just had to look at my phone.
Yeah.
So March is 3 weeks away.
Great job out of you, Dartmouth.
They've been taking offers, and I think for me, the weird thing is, why doesn't Jeff Bezos buy it? I have not understood why he's not the big front runner there, but
Maybe he is. I don't know. I mean, maybe you get like a mystery buyer or someone who comes in the last minute. Bezos has never been linked. I mean, tangentially, but not.
Oh, that's just been speculation.
Well, the reason why is because there has been the thought out there that Dan Snyder loathes the Washington Post so much because they've done expose after expose after expose on how toxic the workplace culture is in Washington that Snyder has vowed, I will never sell to Bezos. Now that's like the rumor.
But the reason Bezos was connected because Washington Post, Washington Commanders.
Yes.
And, Bezos loves football. His brother and him have done several projects on football before. His brother Mark is a huge football fan. Not to name drop, but I am slightly friendly with Jeff's brother.
And you're just saying this now? Why aren't we brought to you by Amazon?
Well...
Call in the favor, Perloff.
Yeah, I don't know. If Amazon can't afford the Commanders, can they afford the Maggie and Perloff show?
You know what? It's a hot commodity.
I don't understand. People who say that owners should, rich people should not buy teams because you don't want all that negative publicity. The number one thing I would do if I was that rich is buy a team. It'd be my first priority.
Not me.
I'd have an office in the stadium. I would probably be Jerry Jones and be the GM and make the draft picks. That's all I would want to do.
When you get off the yacht, or actually just do it from the yacht.
Yeah, it's like your own fantasy football team, but real life. You wouldn't do. Why would you not do that?
No chance. Because Seinfeld says this, and I think it's the same thing for me. If I go to a game as a fan, as good as it gets for me is like a good seat, cold beer, something to eat, and I'm good. I don't need like the headache of everything that's going on behind the scenes. Now, maybe he's specifically talking about the Mets, Seinfeld, because they are a headache all the time, or used to be. But I don't want the sales guy hates the marketing guy, and I don't care about that if I'm a rich person. I don't care. I just want to be a fan.
But that is the number one way to become nationally famous is to own a team.
Well, I want to be an anonymous rich person. Despite the fact that I talk into a microphone for a living, I would love to be an anonymous rich person.
I know, for example, your Bills, you'd be so thrilled as a fan, but can you imagine you get to go up and hoist a Lombardi trophy? You get all the credit, and all you did was be rich.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, more things out of Roger Goodell's press conference today. They're thinking about flexing Thursday Night Football at some point. I don't know how the players are going to be okay with this. So you don't know once you get off the field whether or not you play in 4 days or whether you play in 6?
There are, and I've heard this, actually it's our buddy Ross Tucker, players do like Thursday night because then they get 11 days off and they get
a mini bye.
They get a mini bye and they can travel, they can go home. So I think that it's the media who hates Thursday night and thinks it's unfair for players. I'm not sure all players feel that way. And if that's true, maybe the NFLPA lets this one slip through. From a quality of watching TV standpoint, I get the flexing. I get the flexing. But the problem is, you're right, Thursday night games can get really ugly, especially if guys don't have time to recover.
Yeah, we'll stop putting the Broncos on. I'm just kidding. Hopefully the Broncos will be better this year under Sean Payton.
Wasn't Thursday night a Jags-Titans color rush game every week for 4 years?
For most of our adult lives. So that's some of the big stuff coming out of Roger Goodell's press conference. One other thing that I feel like we have to get the record straight here, because I think that all of us, not just the media, but fans, we are all being subjected right now to a massive Aaron Rodgers troll job.
What?
I don't think this darkness retreat that he told Pat McAfee yesterday that he was going on, I don't think this is real. I think this is all a game, if you will, or an experiment by Aaron Rodgers to see what will we actually believe. Like, how gullible will we be as the media? Will we just run with this story to even check to see if such a thing even exists? Where you're going to tell me that Aaron Rodgers is going on a 4-day retreat where he's going to be in complete isolation and like darkness, where it's optional to wear an adult diaper? Guys, he's messing with us. Like, there's no chance this is real.
First of all, go to a Cubs game and there's plenty of adult diapers. There's no shame in that. That is just a thing that bros do.
It's a day drinking, yeah.
What are you talking? This is Aaron Rodgers.
That bros do.
He's bragged openly about how an ayahuasca trip, 2 ayahuasca trips, opened his mind. Has he ever done anything that he hasn't? Has he ever trolled and not done these things? If you believe, he dated an Instagram person named Blue. That was her name, Blue. This guy is into new age stuff. He's from California, not to stereotype California.
Yeah, that's a pretty big state.
Well, yeah, but I think that all that stuff sort of started out there. He's into meditation, probably. This sounds, he wants to find out who Aaron Rodgers truly is. I believe it. So you're the first person I've heard who said it's a troll, and that'll be a great call if it turns out it's fake. But Aaron Rodgers hasn't baked any of this stuff. It's all true.
No, listen, there was also, back in the day, a little bit of a different spin on this. Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace, used to have these things called like Mamba blackout workouts or something. Like Mamba blackouts. Yeah. And he used to tell young guys about it. And the thing he would say to these guys is, I'm doing these crazy workouts where I work out so hard until I pass out. And that was the Mamba workout. And somebody asked him, like, man, about that workout. He goes, yeah, it was fake. I made it up. I made it up just because, like, the legend grows the more I do things like this, and I'm so good and I've earned the respect where people are going to believe it. Aaron Rodgers probably feels like he's earned the fact that we will believe anything he says because he's done some unorthodox, outside-of-the-box things like the ayahuasca trip and been so open and honest about it. I think he's testing us like no one's going to push back and say, you're full of crap.
No. I mean, Kobe's so different than Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe I'm taking this so seriously. Aaron Rodgers talks about his spiritual journey and talks about non-football stuff almost as much as he does about football. Honestly, what are his trademark stories over the last 3 or 4 years? They're not football. Well, there is some football, but it's more about, obviously there was the vaccine and there's this sort of holistic approach to health and the world, and he's just different. It's like, TB12 and avocado ice cream and all that weirdness. Aaron Rodgers has his own unique brand of weirdness, and I think a 4-day darkness retreat fits in perfectly. Now, I'm going to totally, I don't know, I feel like we should have a show bet. I should do something. Maybe I should go in complete darkness for a show if it happens.
Wait a minute, because you got to host the show.
Well, that'd be such a great call. Well, actually, I might look better if I'm in complete darkness. But it's such a great call of you that it's a troll, if it is a troll. But I no percent of me thinks that this is a troll. I think that this kind of thing that Aaron Rodgers does.
So Laura's in the chat saying it is real. There are actual darkness retreats, although Timothy thinks that I'm onto something here. And Dominic thinks that Rodgers is just going to watch Donnie Darko on repeat for 4 days.
Well, that will put you in a weird mental space.
I don't know about that.
But, Maggie, you think that there's something... not a conspiracy. You think that there's something, everything we're presented by a professional athlete, you immediately assume that that is not true and there's something else going on here.
Only
is there
by
any
certain athletes, like Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's okay, but Tom Brady?
I kind of starting to believe that Tom Brady might retire for real this time. I did believe that he was trying to get to Miami in some kind of a front office thing that would have maybe backdoored him onto the field at some way. Yeah. I do believe that one. There's good reporting around it, too.
No, I know. But don't you think whenever Tom Brady says something, there's really another reason behind it? And Tom Brady himself has admitted that he lies 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So I think there is some real reason to believe that kind of thing.
Yeah, I believe that he's lying.
But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a liar.
No, sometimes I think he's a little too honest, quite frankly.
Right.
I mean, great for us and for all the public who get to weigh in on it, but yeah, maybe a little bit
I think Aaron Rodgers would be better in the booth than Tom Brady. I think Aaron Rodgers would be immediately the #1 broadcaster. He would bring something different to every game.
Okay, hold on, though.
Yeah.
You kind of have to stay a little bit on the rails when you're doing games.
Why?
Well, look at what Romo does. He goes totally off the rails.
And he was a big star at first.
I know, but it's like getting a little too crazy out there. Like, you kind of need you can't be a total rebel in the booth. And I think Rodgers, he'd be better on a Manning cast or something where he can just talk freely.
But Aaron, unlike Tony, Aaron keeps it cool. The way he delivers lines, I think that his delivery could keep him. And also, I don't know this because I haven't seen him analyze football. He's probably brilliant in football.
Oh,
He's probably, they're all incredibly brilliant. Brady obviously is the most brilliant, but I fear he's going to be boring, where Aaron Rodgers is not boring. The dude, I think he really is going on a 4-day darkness retreat.
Okay, more from Laura. Thank you, Laura, for contributing to the show and making it better in the chat. A dark retreat is one of the companies that does it, is an unparalleled experience and intense seclusion in which the practitioner is deprived of all light and sensory distractions and thus plunges into a deep witnessing awareness of the mind. Honestly, I'd rather be dropped in the middle of the ocean than dropped into a darkness retreat, if that's what it is.
Sounds terrible.
That sounds terrifying.
What about a meditation retreat? I have a lot of friends who do a weekend-long meditation retreat.
No speaking.
No
speaking.
Talking.
Yep.
No, and you're in a meditative state 90% of the time.
How long do you think you could last knowing what we do for a living?
Yeah.
in a non-speaking retreat?
Oh, 6 minutes?
I was going to say maybe 4 minutes. And then I'd have to be like, all right, who wants to talk about where Aaron Rodgers is going next season?
Yeah. Or
is it the Jets? Is it the Raiders?
Or
Somebody
you might just have a total panic attack.
Yes.
Hey, I think she's having a panic attack. We're not supposed to speak. Yeah, but she's running around like her hair's on fire. Just because we're only 3.5 minutes in.
Yep. I think you nailed it. I think that's.
I think you could use, Maggie, a 4-day darkness retreat. I think, Maggie, you don't know the real Maggie Gray. I think the only way to do this is 4 days of seclusion, wearing adult diapers in a pitch black room. I would love to see the results. What you would say after you got out of there.
I just got out of kid diapers with my 3.5-year-old. I don't want to now transition to adult diapers. Like, I thought my diaperness was kind of out the window for a little bit.
Do you ever meditate?
I have meditated before. I did it for like 20 days in a row. It was like an app that I was using.
Yeah.
For 8 minutes.
And how'd it do?
It was unbearable. It was a guided meditation, and it was unbearable. And I like would go into the closet, like literally my closet, and sit on a pillow while my husband was asleep and like try to meditate.
I thought you were going to say it's not for me. The word unbearable came out really easily. Yeah. No.
How about you? Have you meditated?
Yeah, I meditate regularly.
Oh, you do?
I definitely.
Transcendental?
I don't know what it's called. If we're going to get into detail, I count my breaths.
Ah, okay.
And I try and do quick 10 minutes a day.
And what do you think it gives you?
I think it gives you space where you're not as reactive to the world. Because at the end of the day, it sort of reminds you, you're anchored in your breath. That everything that's going around you feels like it's the most important thing in the world, but it's really not. We're all just transitory beings. We're here for the time being. We are our breath, and a lot more going on, and you can't control it.
Man,
that is so
you
weird.
You think that Aaron Rodgers is woo-woo. Good for you,
No,
Perloff.
by the way, I would do a darkness retreat. I'm a little scared of the dark, so that would be a problem.
How about this? Jeffrey in the chat says Perloff would still wear sunscreen in the darkness.
Yeah. By the way, I think my own pale skin would radiate enough light that I could almost read a book in this
Everyone
dark
would be
room.
like, follow Perloff. Just, we're going to go follow his light. We're all going to get out of here and go to McDonald's.
There is a real logistical issue. Maybe he is trolling because I think that AJ Hawk, who on the McAfee show got him, if it's a darkness retreat, don't you have to turn the light on to use the bathroom? Otherwise,
No, you sense it.
You sense it.
I would. The bathroom.
I got to tell you right now, I would not walk on that floor afterwards because you can't go to the bathroom in the pitch dark. It's impossible.
That'd be unnerving. I couldn't do it. I can't do any of this.
So whoever cleans up after the Aaron Rodgers darkness room
couldn't pay me enough.
Or
yikes.
Because if not, then there's a little bit of light here. When you go to the bathroom, you get light. So maybe it is a troll. Maybe it's all made up.
Man, I love it. Darren says, Romo goes off the rails. Wait till he gets a look at you two. Like, yeah, get it. We can do this. We're not calling the AFC Championship game. We're just here sitting around yakety-yakking on Radio Row waiting for Ron Rivera, who's going to join us. Our buddy Jim Trotter coming over to give us pounds. Love you, man. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Okay, I got to tell you about my faux pas. Can I do that?
Oh.
Or should I save it? I'm going to have to save it.
Socially awkward Maggie. I really want to hear
Socially awkward
this.
Maggie. Zach Gelb is here. He witnessed this. So unfortunately, I have witnesses for this. It was an all-time faux pas that happened yesterday with one of the darlings of the Super Bowl.
Oh, I can't wait.
One of the major storylines of this Super Bowl, I had a social faux pas that was witnessed by Zach Gelb and Andrew Filipponi. And it was bad. It was bad. So you can hear Zach. It was bad.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
It was brutal. It was brutal. Was it really brutal? Oh, no. It was. I'm talking myself into the fact that maybe I can recover from this, but it's going to have to wait. We have Ron Rivera walking over to the set. We're going to talk to the Commanders coach. A lot of news, as we said. Looks like the team's going to get sold before the owners' meeting in March. They're still looking for an offensive coordinator. Hey, they're looking for a quarterback. Does that sound familiar? We were talking about that last year at the Super Bowl with Ron Rivera. He will join us in just a little bit. Love you guys in the chat. You make this show better. You make this show more fun. Thank you so much. And to our affiliates across the country on CBS Sports Radio, we're back with more right after this.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
For the first time ever, stream the Super Bowl for free. Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One is Sunday, February 12th. Catch all the action on the Odyssey app on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. All sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All right, we're waiting for Washington Commanders coach Ron Rivera, but I'm so excited to hear this. Maggie, do we have time for your awkward story from yesterday?
Yeah. All right, so here was the big faux pas that was witnessed by Zach Gelb and Andrew Filipponi, and it has to do with one of the biggest storylines in the Super Bowl.
Is this a Kelsey thing?
Okay, so last night, leave Radio Row here in downtown Phoenix, go back to the hotel, go out, I thought I had to go out to the stadium to do something. Turns out I didn't have to do that last night, so I was like, oh, great, I'm going to go to dinner. Go back to the hotel. So now it's like several hours have passed since the show has ended. Go back to my hotel room. I'm like, oh, I left my laptop cord at Radio Row.
Okay.
Darn it. So it's late. I walk back over to Radio Row from the hotel. I walk in and stealthily, late and in the back of the room, the Kelsey brothers are recording their podcast. They're in the Heights podcast. Didn't know that. So the Kelseys' mom and dad are walking out of Radio Row, and I see them, and I say, congrats, try to enjoy this week. I hope you guys have fun. The dad gives me the fist bump, didn't even see it. I snubbed the Kelsey brothers' dad with a fist bump. Totally didn't know. Gelb saw it. Andrew Filipponi saw it. I snubbed like the darling people of this Super Bowl, the beloved Kelseys. I snubbed
Maggie.
them. Didn't even realize
By the way, it's not called the In the Heights podcast. It's a New Heights podcast.
Oh, sorry. In the
That's
Heights
Lin-Manuel Miranda's movie.
Sorry.
See, Coach, you see what I have to deal with on a daily basis here?
My social graces, Coach. I'm sorry.
But the key is you didn't snub Mom.
I didn't. Donna, I know.
That's beautiful.
Ed, I gave a snub to. You just heard his voice. Ron Rivera is the head coach of the Washington Commanders. He's here on behalf of USAA, which is one of our absolute favorites. Coach, thanks so much. And this is a busy time for you. Guys are in the news a little bit today.
Yes, it is.
You probably heard this. Roger Goodell saying that the team is likely to be sold before the owners' meeting. So that was a big revelation. What role, if any, do you play in the sale of the team?
Well, to be honest, nothing that I know of. It was a little different when I was in Carolina. The team was sold. One of the things that I did was I made a presentation to 3 potential buyers. This year, I guess there's no need for it, and we'll just go from there.
They didn't want a PowerPoint presentation, a 10-point plan, nothing like that. Okay, so we'll see what happens from there. A little more offseason stuff. You're still looking for an offensive coordinator. Reports are you've interviewed about 6 people. Is that right?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. And maybe Eric Bieniemy is one of those finalists. Can you talk about that?
Can't talk about it just because he's still playing the game. And the one thing you don't want to do is become a distraction. But, I am waiting for one of the coaches that is involved in this game. And once it's over, we'll go from there.
Coach, last year you were here on our set and we were talking about Washington needing a quarterback. Similar situation this year. How are you guys approaching that position this offseason?
Well, what I'm looking at is, we had a young man that we drafted last year in the 5th round, Sam Howell, a guy that, had a good junior year, very good junior year, and if he'd come out, may have been a higher pick than that. Didn't, but came out his senior year and fell to us in the 5th round. We took Sam. We've always liked Sam. We've thought a lot about his abilities, his arm strength, his decision making, and got an opportunity to watch him grow over the year. Played him in the last game of the year against Dallas, played very well. We won the football game. He did a lot of good things, made some good decisions, stuff like that. We want to go into this offseason as him being QB1 to begin with. And we'll see how things unfold as we go through OTA's minicamp and then into training camp. This is an opportunity for him to establish who he can be for us, and we'll see what happens. Now, we still got to go through free agency in the draft and see if we can find a veteran quarterback. We like who we have. We like Taylor in the room as well. So we'll see what happens.
That's interesting because I think a lot of people would say, all right, you guys made the trade for Carson Wentz last year. He ends up breaking his finger, so put him on the shelf for a little bit. Then he came back. It wasn't awesome for Carson, but thought maybe you'd be in the sweepstakes for like a Derek Carr, maybe shoot for the moon Aaron Rodgers or something like that.
Yeah, but the big thing is, what's it going to cost you? I mean, you can you can do certain things with some of these guys that are out there, but what capital do you have to use? I mean, are you going to be willing to part with draft picks, players, and money? I mean, it's something that you have to really look at, and would it potentially or could it potentially set you back? We still feel we got some needs that we want to take care of, some things that we've got to fill, some guys we got to retain as we go forward as a football team.
So we recently interviewed Brian Robinson. What an amazing story.
Yeah.
I think you could make a strong pitch for a veteran quarterback if that's what you want to do. There's some really good receivers. Robinson was a revelation.
Dotson is great.
And we love Terry McLaurin. That's another one of our favorites. So it does feel...
They love him, too. They paid him.
It feels like, it feels like it has a chance to be actually an explosive offense. I'm an Eagles fan. I saw really what they did in the first Eagles loss. I mean, don't you think there could be a lot of improvement on that side of the ball next year?
Oh, I think there can be, most certainly. And again, the thing that you look for is consistent play from the quarterback position. I got trapped into a question during the season. You would ask me, well, what's the difference between you and the other three teams individually? I said quarterback play. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Quarterback. If you look at the consistency in which they have had that guy, I mean, each quarterback that those three guys have had, those three teams, have been with their team at least 3 years.
Right.
All right. Jalen was there at least 3 years. Daniel Jones was there for 4 years. Okay. And then you look at Dak Prescott, who's been there a while too. It's not like all of a sudden they went and found a guy, plugged him in, and let's go. No, they've had a guy that's been there, has been developing, has developed a rapport amongst his teammates. We've been trying to find that consistency and get ourselves into that position and find it so that we have consistent play.
Ron Rivera is joining us on behalf of USAA. Of course, he's the head coach for the Washington Commanders. If you could go back to the beginning of the season, I know it's tough because injuries, I mentioned with Carson Wentz broke his finger, but if you could start that over again, is there anything different? Like, obviously, you guys saw something in him. You thought that you could maximize, the talent that he has. Any idea about could that have gone differently for you guys?
Well, again, if we're fortunate enough to have the hindsight, yes.
Yeah,
there's something that you could change and say, oh, this would have been worked, this would have been better. But not necessarily because of the injuries. And you guys talked about it. Brian Robinson was somebody that we did a lot with in the preseason. We built a lot of things around him. And so, not getting that opportunity to see what could have been with him early on would probably be really the only thing that could have changed.
And obviously that situation was completely out of your control, where he gets shot in an attempted robbery and survived, obviously, and thrived last year.
Yes, and it was one of those things that, it was going to take a little bit once he came back to us as he developing himself going again. But the truth of the matter is he showed us what he's capable of. And that's something that we look at and say, optimistically, that's going to be something that we got to continue to look at and grow.
Okay, we're going to talk about USA in a moment. But as I mentioned, a Philly guy, Eagles fan.
Thank you for your restraint.
Yes. Yeah. Tell me about what impressed you about the Eagles and offensive line, defensive line, how you think it might match up against the Chiefs.
Well, I really like, first of all, how they put that team together. I mean, again, it's the epitome of taking advantage of a quarterback on his first contract. Okay, you're able to go out and spend and do these kinds of things. That's what we're looking at with our guy. We're looking at a guy that potentially, if he is the answer and can become that guy, you've got him on his first contract.
Yep.
Secondly, so you got to give them kudos for doing that. I like some of the things that they did during the draft. They make a trade because they had the draft capital and they used the first round pick and they bring a wide receiver in that's really impacted what they do offensively. I like they went out and they signed Hassan.
Reddick.
I mean, you just look at this young man and say, God, this guy's he's an impact player. And they've done that. They shored up the front of their defense by going out and getting 2 huge defensive linemen that have impacted the playoffs as well, guys that have championship experience. So it's one of those things where everything they've done is, and I'm not going to say put their eggs all in one basket. It's not like they spent $1 gazillion. They built it systematically and put people in place. And so that's the thing that's exciting.
Nick Sirianni is still a mystery to a lot of fans. He's a younger coach. He gave up play calling duties last year to focus more on head coaching duties. What has made Nick Sirianni a success in Philadelphia, in your opinion?
I think because he understands the whole marketing thing and how important that really is.
What's up, Nate? Oh, this is cool.
Doing, man?
A Radio Row moment.
Congrats, man. I'm so happy for you. I really am.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, Nate, you're coming. You're hanging out next. That was Nate Burleson, who's going to be joining us next, hugging Ron Rivera. That was a very cool moment as a fan to watch that. What's your connection with Nate?
No, just knowing who Nate is over the years and playing against him and stuff like that. And he's just one of the really super people. And to see a young man who's done things the right way and has worked hard and got himself to the position he is, that's pretty neat. And it's, I'm very happy for him. I really am.
One last question for you. We'll get to USAA. It's about the Dallas Cowboys making a change on their offensive coordinator. You, as a defensive mind yourself, obviously, and an incredible defensive player that you are, and you have a great defense on your team. Like, what was it? Was that a difficult or, team to game plan for? And how do you think it's going to change in Dallas next year?
Well, it was a team that was difficult to game plan for just because of the many weapons they have. I mean, today's offenses have changed so much that you have to game plan for different things every week. It's not like you sit there and say, well, this is what we're going to do, and that's because that's what we do. This is how we have to do things. This is what we want to do because of what they do. So you have to match your opponent. So they were difficult to begin with. What's going to change with Dallas more than anything else is, when you're a head coach and you're calling plays, you're really only focusing on one side of the ball. Now, you may do a presentation at the beginning of the week where you talk to both sides, but what's going to happen now is his focus is going to narrow. It's going to narrow in one side. I'm fortunate where, the defensive side, which is quote-unquote my expertise, I got Jack Del Rio, who I know Jack. I've got a lot of trust and confidence and faith in what Jack has done for us defensively. So I can look at all phases. I can look at the offense, the defense, and special teams, and I can manage. And, some of the things that I've also had to deal with some of the stuff that's off the field.
Sure.
And so I'm not, being drawn or pulled away from something that says, oh, you got to be locked in, game planning for this. I can go in and out of meetings. I can work both sides of the ball and special teams to stay involved. Now, when you're a play calling coach, you really have to have that guy on the other side that you truly trust. Well, they have that in Dallas. I mean, I think Dan Quinn is one of the fine coaches in this league, and I got a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Quinn as well as I do for Mike, because I think Mike is a terrific coach as well. And, he's shown that he is a good offensive mind.
Tell us about USAA Salute to Service Award. This is something really special.
It really is, and it means an awful lot to me because of my father's service to the country. My dad served 32 years in the United States Army. My mom was there to support him the whole way. So for our family, growing up military was very, very important because when you're a military kid and you're moving from one Army base to the other, you see the commitment and sacrifice people make for the country. Okay, not just, for a unit or a group, but for the country. There's an appreciation and respect for that, and that's why, I've been involved with the Salute to Service that we do when I was in Carolina, that we do when I was here with the Commanders, and it's very important to me because I want to make sure everybody understands that it is important that we say thank you to these folks because their commitment is they're sacrificing so much, and some ultimately do create the ultimate sacrifice. And so we want them to know that, and in my opinion, we should want them to know that we truly do appreciate what they've done for us.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic. The USAA is the official NFL Salute to Service partner, and the Salute to Service Award presented by USAA. Very, very cool that you were named the recipient of the 12th Annual Salute to Service Award presented by USAA. Well-deserved. Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Good luck next season.
No, thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I know that was half-hearted because you're still thinking about your Eagles.
Yeah, I know. Ignore him, Coach. Ignore him.
You know that fan base, Ron. I mean, come on.
I do, believe me. I really do know that fan base. And, hey, I was there for 5 years.
I'm very well aware of that.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That was Ron Rivera, the Washington Commanders. You heard he gave a big hug to Nate Burleson. Nate will be our next guest right here on Radio Row in Phoenix. Time for a CBS Sports Update. Here is Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, Damar Hamlin made a huge impact on the community in the midst of his cardiac episode. Nearly $9 million was raised for a toy drive and Hamlin was named the winner of the Allen Page Award for Community Service. The Chiefs made a decision several years ago to move on from Alex Smith and hand the keys to the kingdom to Patrick Mahomes, and it's worked out well so far with the team playing in the Super Bowl for the third time in 4 years. Travis Kelce was distraught when Smith left, but his rapport with Mahomes has been just as good. The Chiefs quarterback said they clicked immediately and their bond gets stronger every day.
It started, as the friends we became off the field, that we've become like brothers now, that relationship that we have is kind of translated on the field. And I know what he's thinking when he's out there. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest tight end of all time.
Derek Carr is reportedly meeting with the Saints today, who have worked out a compensation package for the Raiders should the two sides be a match. In the NBA tonight, the Celtics host the Sixers in a matchup of two of the top teams in the East. Boston holds a one-game lead over the Red-Hot Bucks, who are idle, and 3 over Philly. And the Mavericks meet the Clippers tonight with Kyrie Irving making his Dallas debut after coming over in a trade from the Nets. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, this is Zach Gelb. CBS Sports Radio has moved to Sirius XM channel 158, and you can always listen to us on your local affiliate station, the Odyssey app, or your smart speaker.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We're live on Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. If you were just listening to the last segment, you heard our next guest come up and hug our guests we were talking to. That was Nate Burleson and Ron Rivera having a moment. That was really cool for us. But Nate Burleson is here. Of course, CBS NFL Today analyst. CBS This Morning. Do you want to start with like the Chinese spy balloon or something like that? Let's keep it to football.
Well, we shot it down, right?
It's over the ocean. You told me that. I get my news from Nate Burleson and my sports news. Nate, it is so good to see you here with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Because I know that's really important to you. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Talk about this game a little bit too, but we know you're the big hoop fan.
I am.
We know you're a massive basketball fan, so I know you were watching LeBron break the record last night.
Right.
Are you a LeBron guy or an MJ guy?
I'm a LeBron guy. A little Dirk Nowitzki off the left leg fadeaway from the corner of the free throw line. LeBron with the points to pass Kareem. I thought that was an amazing moment. It was unfortunate they were down. You know, I was used to those moments in the '90s where it was like your team was winning, and it was a picture perfect moment along with the storyline that followed. The Lakers have struggled a little bit. You got the Russ storyline and AD. It's just a lot going on. But with all that said, that's besides the point. LeBron is the GOAT, and here's why. I love Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I am a Jordan guy through and through. He was the greatest basketball player ever. But if we're talking about career points, assists, I'll give Jordan defense. I mean, he won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. I just feel like LeBron is the most complete player ever. And I might be biased in what I used to love. I was a huge Magic Johnson fan. On the back of my AAU jersey, when the coach was like, you can put a nickname back there, I put Lil Magic. So I loved Magic. And I feel like LeBron is this generation's Magic Johnson, but uber athletic. His basketball IQ is through the roof. So I just call him the GOAT because when it's all said and done, statistical categories, check. And then off the court, forget about it. I think he's been amazing.
Yeah. What is it off the court that impresses you?
It's that he cares. You don't have to always be right in your response to things, but that he cares. And he puts his brand aside. He puts everything that you might think about him aside, and he speaks up. He stands for something. I'm not saying that other GOATs don't. LeBron just does it more. And then you look at what he did to Ohio and where he was from. Like, that Promise School is amazing. And when you can go somewhere and change the economy of a state, like, that's just different, man. And he does it everywhere he goes.
I agree with all that, but it's Jordan. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
Of course.
I mean, let's stick to football.
No,
let's stick to football.
The Jordan defenders love that argument. Just, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
It's Jordan, 6 rings. Okay. Let's move on to football because, like, Brady's retiring, so there could be some torch passing that goes on in your sport, Nate, in the NFL. I mean, Mahomes could be one of those guys. He and Jalen Hurts playing in this game together. I know it's important to you. First time 2 black quarterbacks have faced off in the Super Bowl. Why is this so important?
Yeah, we're going to be running a piece on CBS Mornings about that exact subject. And there was a point in time, and we all know this, we're historians of the game, where they thought a black man couldn't play the quarterback position. And for those who are listening, you might not understand like how layered that is. It's not about skill set. It's not about, you're athletic, you should play another position. No, they literally were saying black guy isn't smart enough to run a offense. And now you look at where we are so many years later and the amount of African-American and quarterbacks of color in college and how that is shifting. Eventually there will be more black quarterbacks. You're seeing it now. Now you're having that representation in the NFL and the Super Bowl. It's special. Patrick Mahomes is an incredible talent, and Jalen Hurts has dealt with some of that. Not the exact same reasoning, but there was he's an athletic quarterback. He's really strong. And, maybe he should have played a different position. Even when he was battling with Carson Wentz for the starting job, people were still saying, we're not sure if he's that guy. Now, it wasn't for the same reason it was 100 years ago, but he had to prove that, no, I'm a passer. It's just that I'm really athletic, too.
Right.
And now these guys are facing off one of the most explosive pass games we've ever seen, creative offense with the Chiefs, and then one of the best running teams we've ever seen in NFL history with the Eagles. This is a moment to remember. And with all that said, there's so many things on the line, but a dynasty is on the line. The Eagles, 2 Super Bowl appearances in 5 years. And then you have the Chiefs, 3 Super Bowl appearances in the 5 years that Patrick Mahomes has been a starter for this team. That's unreal. Either way, we're going to be talking about a dynasty.
Yeah. Well, how about on the coaching front? I think it's more challenging right now, getting diversity. What can the NFL do? You say opportunity, but then opportunity means what? Let's peel that back. We say, let's stick to the Rooney Rule. Okay, you interview a guy, and then he walks out the door, and you hire somebody else, somebody that you had in mind. I oftentimes look at a coach like Bruce Arians, who affords so many opportunities to coaches of color and then women in positions, and now it's a norm where when you talk to Coach Arians, he's like, bro, I've been doing this. Like, the league didn't have to push me to interview black coordinators. At one point, he had a black offense coordinator, defense coordinator, special teams coach, and that was because he felt like they were the most qualified for the job. We're seeing these coaches get these big contracts, and some of them are in and out faster than a player we might label a bust, but we don't say anything. But then these coaches who have to take the long route, black players who say, I want to transition into coaching, seems like it takes them forever just to get an opportunity. And then that sometimes is just an interview that they're doing to pull the wool over everybody's eyes while they hire somebody else who isn't a coach of color. I say it's much deeper than the Rooney Rule and opportunity. I just feel like we have to look from within, because there's a lot of black coaches on each staff that need to be head coaches. And shout out to D'Amico Ryans, who now is a new head coach for the Houston Texans. Look what Jeff Saturday did. What if you got a call, say, hey, why'd you come walk the sideline? Would you ever think about coaching?
I thought about it, but there's one story that I'll always share that changed my perspective on coaching. Shout out to Todd Downing, who was a coach in the NFL. He was a coach for the Minnesota Vikings, and then we reconnected as Detroit Lions, hired both of us. And I remember being in his office, and we're just talking about football, going over the game plan. And I'm like, hey, are you still moving in? And he's like, why would you ask me that? I'm like, because you still got stuff in here. I'm like, you got a box and there's a pillow and some sleeping bag. He's like, oh, no, that's for when I stay here. I'm like, what do you mean stay here? He's like, well, you guys leave around 8. Sometimes we don't leave till 12 or 1 a.m. and we have to be back at 5 in the morning. So instead of driving home and losing that time, I sleep here. I'm like, how often do you sleep here? He's like, majority of the year. That was the moment I said to myself, I will never be a coach in the league, because the work you have to put in.
Nate Burleson is our guest. He's CBS NFL Today analyst. CBS This Morning, former NFL wide receiver. I don't think I mentioned that the first time around. You're here with us on behalf of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Just one more question before we get to that.
Yeah.
Of all the wide receivers in this game, both on the Chiefs side and on the Eagles side, who do you think is going to have the biggest game? Like, who do you think is going to have a moment?
Immediately, football logic says pick Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, right? A.J. is the big play, big post. He runs those deep over routes, even just the simple go route. Single coverage, you know where the ball is going, and he's so great when the ball's in the air. But if you want an X factor, a guy that can change the game, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's the guy. When McCall Hartman went down and they were trying to find a rhythm in the AFC Championship game, Mahomes was looking at that big target. And he's tall, long. He has a great length. I mean, his catch radius is like a garage door. That's the guy that can help this offense, because when they're trying to run the ball and figure out if they can utilize Pacheco and the running backs in this game, the big shots will go to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So that's the guy.
He had that big third quarter in the AFC Championship game. I know you guys were there. Okay, big brothers, big sisters. We know this is important to you, and you have some special guests who are even following you around Radio Row.
I do. Isaac and Christian over there, the Battle Brothers, they're part of the Big Brothers program. And, I'm here because there's something that they're doing called the Big Draft. We know in the NFL there's big moments. There's the Super Bowl, Combine, and then the draft. Well, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, they want to do the same thing, which is draft 6,000 bigs in 60 days.
Wow.
Which, it seems like a really large number, but there's 30,000 kids, mostly young boys of color, that are waiting for a big. And they're waiting for somebody to come into their life and just help them navigate, through life. I grew up in a household with 3 other brothers, so 4 boys in the house. I had my mom and dad in my house, and there still were people in my life that were influences outside of the home.
Sure.
So think about those who don't grow up in a traditional household, or who might be struggling with certain things. And that's why this is important to me, to be involved in a program like this, because it was so important. My mom and dad, I remember them opening up our doors, and every kid from the neighborhood, every player from every team I was on would spend a night. And it wasn't even a question. And we stretched the food as much as we can. If we only had noodles and hot dogs, we stretched those noodles and hot dogs as much as we could for other kids. So being 41 now, having 3 kids at home, and my door always being open, and instead of now being a brother to my kids' friends, I'm Uncle Nate. This is how I live. So when the Big Brother program reached out, I immediately said yes. Yes, we're going to do it. And then my agent was like, wait, well, don't you want any information? I said, no, we'll work out the details later. Like, this is what I stand for. So, go to bbs.org, and you can find more information about it. But the big draft, trying to draft 6,000 bigs in 60 days, which I think the number's low. We can get more because the kids need it.
That's amazing, Nate. And so the Burleson household come in, you see a bunch of teenagers eating cereal. Is that what's going on there?
Yes, all my food, eating all my food out in New Jersey, and these kids know. They pull up, and now it's like they don't even recognize me. I come in, it's like, oh, what's up, Uncle Nate? I'm like, bro, are you eating my steak? Oh, yeah, I mean, you got it last night, but I didn't know if you was going to heat it up or not.
Nate, we literally have like a minute left.
Okay.
The darkness retreat that Aaron Rodgers allegedly is going on, I think it's a hoax. Perloff thinks it's real.
Yeah, have you heard about this?
No, please explain it to me quickly.
4 days in dark isolation.
I believe it.
Okay.
I believe it. It's Aaron Rodgers. Like, why wouldn't we believe it? It's the same guy that was doing the ayahuasca, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Listen, I have relatives that have done it, and to be honest, I'm going to keep it real with you, I might do it at some point. You know what I mean? It's going to elevate the mind and take you to a different planet and bring you back down and have a different perspective on the world. But Aaron Rodgers is a different type of dude. And you know what? He might have to go dark before he changes over to that dark uniform with the Raiders.
Oh. I was going to say slime time on ayahuasca might be like a really whole different thing.
That's pretty trippy.
Might be kind of freaky.
Trippy.
Nate, you're the absolute best. We love watching you on NFL Today, of course, on CBS This Morning. I mean, what you've done with your career, like, we're so thrilled for you.
Thank you.
We really are the best. And working now with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the Big Draft. Coming up next, we got to, keep it going here.
Keep it going.
We got Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He's a Jersey
JT's
dude.
here? Okay.
In the house, and he's going to join us coming up in just a moment. More Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The treadmill is a go. I'm having some issues with the desk, but I walked for 7 glorious minutes, which doesn't bode well for Perloff saying I'm never going to use this treadmill.
The treadmill will never work. How could you possibly enjoy the football games when you're on a treadmill, Maggie?
I was walking at a high speed. I'm not going to sit on my butt for 12 hours straight.
You are going to sit on your butt for 12 hours straight. Cut to week 7. You're just going to be sitting there. There's going to be nacho cheese dripping down your face.
They'll be eating the nachos on the
balancing the nachos on your stomach as we do on the couch. Oh, yeah, there's the treadmill. I forgot about that thing. By the time Dak Prescott gets back on the field, there will be shirts hanging on that treadmill. No exercise will be done on it. I guarantee it.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, the protein-packed snack that's bold as you are. Be big, be bold, be adventurous. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. It is Maggie and Perloff. We're here on Radio Row in Phoenix and just had a fantastic interview with Nate Burleson. If you missed that, you can download the Maggie and Perloff podcast. We are coast to coast on all of our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. We are also streaming live youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio and get involved, get in the chat. It is wild. Every time it's 20 past the hour, our chat gets especially excited, and it starts at 4.
Come on, grow up, chat.
It starts at 4:20 Eastern, and then it's 4:20 Central, and then it's 4:20 Mountain, and then it's 4:20. Well, we're off the air by that point.
No, they just like the way we handle the second segment of every hour, Maggie.
Yeah.
That's why they're excited.
Sure, yeah, that's it. Okay, so speaking of which, obviously, the big news today is not about football. It's about LeBron James passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. And we talked a lot about that and LeBron versus MJ. But some of the details from last night, Perloff, are kind of leaking out. And it looks like there was a lot more going on than just LeBron's pursuit of Kareem's record. It looks like finally we're getting closer to our long national nightmare of Russell Westbrook being on the Lakers finally being over, because you could tell last night there was a moment in the first half where Westbrook receives a pass on a fast break and seems like it could easily have passed the ball ahead to LeBron, and instead basically throws it out of bounds. It was bizarre play in the moment, and according to sources, Russell Westbrook and Lakers head coach Darvin Ham got into a very heated exchange at halftime.
Well, I'm confused because I thought Russell had turned it around this year and was playing much better off the bench.
Well, last night didn't look that great.
No, I'm
you
very
know,
well
as I know, because I know you were watching.
But there was a lot of talk about how Russell had finally found his role and was playing much better with the Lakers this year, to the point where everyone's like, well, what's the point of giving him away? He's going to come off the books next year anyway.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I think that's all gone. Now it looks like...
Maybe it was last night.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Think about it. All of this, I would say pressure maybe or excitement leading up to this moment where LeBron's going to break this record, and that just seems like the wrong time to be getting into back and forth in halftime. But here's the thing. They're professional athletes. They are trying to win a basketball game. I think once LeBron broke the record and then they stopped the game for about 15 minutes, it seemed like almost impossible that the Lakers were going to win that game.
I mean, Russell did have a good game. He had 4 threes, 4 out of 7, which is a lot for him. And he's been having games like that to the point where maybe the Lakers will be easier to trade him because people are seeing value again. I really think... I know how you and I both feel about Russell Westbrook.
No, but I mean, you're the Rob Pelinka's dream GM. He's hoping he finds someone like you.
No. I was the first anti-Russell Westbrook. I thought there was no way he deserved the MVP. The guy is a total compiler of stats. But in today's NBA, there's such a pressure to shoot well, and that's what LeBron needs around him. He needs consistent, outstanding shooters.
Oh, yeah, and it's easy to see. I mean, even in a game against Oklahoma City Thunder, who's the, youngest team in the NBA, I mean, they have at least shooters, guys they know they can get a bucket at any time. Obviously, it looks like things are going to be coming here to an end for Russell Westbrook and the Lakers. Woj reporting that right now 3-team trade in the works, has not happened yet, in the works between Minnesota Timberwolves, the Utah Jazz, and the Lakers. And the big centerpiece would be D'Angelo Russell going from Minnesota back to the Lakers. As we remember, his infamous first stop with the Lakers as their second overall pick several years ago, outing Swaggy Pete about Iggy Azalea. Wow, that feels like it was in a time capsule.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's funny because D'Angelo Russell has shown that he's a much better player than he was with the Lakers in his subsequent stops. I still don't think
working in Minnesota, though.
I don't think this takes the Lakers over the top at all.
No.
It's funny.
Another guard who doesn't play defense.
LeBron is 38. You saw last night, he's still completely elite.
Yeah.
One of the top 10 players in the NBA, easily. Is it okay if he never wins another title, Maggie? You're a big LeBron fan. Or is this going to be a knock on him if things don't get fixed in LA?
So, I'm a big LeBron person, and I'm a LeBron over MJ person. But here's the thing. LeBron as a general manager has hurt himself. So that has to be part of the story, because once he and Clutch Sports kind of have started to take over these teams, I mean, it hasn't gone great.
Well,
they've had a lot of missteps. Now, granted, they did win the bubble title, but, it's hard. It's hard because that was the bubble title in front of no fans. It almost feels like it happened on a different planet than LA.
Well, I mean, the difference is that MJ was a terrible GM too. He made terrible personnel decisions, but he was so good at basketball that he could lift 4 scrubs to an NBA title every year. LeBron needs help.
Well, Scottie Pippen wasn't a scrub.
Scottie Pippen would not be Scottie Pippen if Michael Jordan was not there.
I know,
He's not
but
a
Scottie
scrub.
Pippen played defense in a way that I know MJ was an incredible defender, but MJ would go on the opponent's best guy like with 3 minutes left to go in the game. Scottie was doing the work for the first 38.
No, I mean, you're right. Listen, if Michael Jordan had Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Mike Sampler, and Stu Kovacs, they'd probably get to the second round of the playoffs. They wouldn't win a title, but that dude could elevate any team to a title because he was completely unstoppable. I can't believe how much disrespect he's getting.
This isn't disrespect at all.
How is it not disrespect?
Because there is a worthy challenger. That's why. It's not disrespect when it's a worthy challenger. It's not disrespect when we talk about who's the GOAT, Brady or Montana, or when we had that discussion, because they both were outstanding. It's just a credit that we can have this discussion that somebody actually rivaled MJ, and in my mind, has edged him.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's just like because it's more my generation.
Listen, we have to stick to football. This is getting me. We're both losing our cool over. And we actually, when we started the show a year ago, we said we're not going to do MJ versus LeBron. We just don't see it the same way. Then LeBron has to go and break the all-time scoring record and bring back all the bad feelings. Thanks, LeBron.
That's something we can blame him for. 855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up later in the show, I know we have a lot of college football fans listening to the show. And I know college football fans probably feel like they are neglected this time of year, because we're all talking about the NFL and we're all talking about LeBron. Hendon Hooker of your Tennessee Volunteers, formerly, will join us on this set in just a little bit. Talk about his rehab from his ACL surgery and all of that, his massive statement win over Alabama this year. So that's going to be fun. And now we want to quickly go to an interview that we have with one of our favorites, running back for the Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor. Let's go.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We are on Radio Row in the Phoenix Convention Center, and it is our pleasure now to welcome in an All-Pro, a Pro Bowler running back for Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor on the vent. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Jonathan, the whole world is talking about what LeBron James did last night. So are you more of a LeBron guy or an MJ guy? Where do you fall?
So I love MJ. But at the time, you got to pay where respect is due. Something we leave all the time is availability. The best ability is availability. I know a lot of people like to use that against LeBron, but that's how he's been able to sustain greatness, by being on the floor every single night.
I can't imagine the season went how you wanted it to, Jonathan. You only played in 11 games this year. How would you describe what this season was like for you?
This season was definitely had a lot of things transpired this season. But being able to talk on a lot of veterans in the locker room, DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, Stephon Gilmore, guys like that. When you have a season like this, with everything that transpired as far as me personally and, staff-wise, it's what can you do with this experience that you had this season? Can you take it, learn from it, grow as a player and as a person this offseason to come back a better version of yourself? And I think not only myself, but every teammate in that locker room is going to be doing the same thing this offseason.
Jonathan, how did you react when you found out Jeff Saturday would be coming out of the TV booth and be your head coach?
I was surprised, but then I was also a little excited because it's Jeff Saturday. Like you look at the kind of career he had in Indianapolis and his accolades, and you're like, man, he's coming back. Similar to Reggie coaching the receivers. Like our receivers coach is Reggie Wayne. This is insane. But then as you hear Jeff Saturday speak and you hear the passion in his voice on, it's not about myself stepping in and helping turn things around. It's about myself stepping in to help this organization that I know and love be great as it once was. That's the only goal and objective of Jeff Saturday. He wants nothing but the best for the Colts organization because we know his love and passion for the organization. And when you have a guy like that, it's easy to play for.
It started off on a high note, went against the Raiders, and then kind of crashed from there. But if you had a vote, I know it's not your decision, but if you had a vote, would you want Jeff Saturday to be the head coach moving forward?
I would love to play. I would love to play for Jeff Saturday. I mean, like I just mentioned, if you have a guy who's putting all his efforts, all his energy, you can sure, hey, is the coaching staff around me doing everything that they can? Am I doing everything that I can? Are the players doing everything they can to put themselves in the best position? Because this is what that organization deserves. If you could play for a guy like that, if you have a guy like that, it's easy to play for him.
So let's say he does take over, whoever takes over next year, tell Colts fans why they should be more hopeful that this will go more like 2 seasons ago than last year in 2023.
Well, number one, any coach that you have come in the midst of a season where there's a lot of things transpiring, that's already a tough position, let alone being a head coach. So coming into the head coaching position and midway through the season, trying to figure out, one, your coaching staff, figure out your players, what are their strengths and weaknesses, just trying to figure out how can I have this whole organization and this team gel together so that it comes in on Sunday. And I feel like with a whole offseason program, being able to go through camp in person, Jeff Saturday, improvement. I don't know who can come in as a head coach in the middle of a season with a lot of things going on and expect to just blow things out of the water. I mean, there was a lot to unpack this season.
Jonathan, you're here on behalf of Ascent. Why do you believe in this product?
The number one reason I believe in Ascent Protein is going into my rookie year, there's a lot of information that gets thrown at you. Use this product. This will take you over the edge. This is what you need to be using at the next level. And the number one thing I took from that all is you're in control of what you put in your own body. So knowing throughout my training regimen that I'll be able to lean on Ascent Protein, knowing that there are no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavors, no additives. It's a very clean product that also works and helps with my recovery. It helps me build muscle back up to put that body armor on going into next season. That is the number one reason why, but then also the partnerships that I've been able to build, the friendships I've been able to build through Ascent Protein has been tremendous. Getting to know the team, getting to know every single employee. For the most part, it was definitely during COVID, but as times are going on, I'm able to meet more and more faces, and that's just what you want. You want a company, you want a product that helps believe in you, that helps you go to the next level. And that's something that Ascent Protein has done for me since I've entered the league. And so if anybody's out there training and you want to take your training to the next level, definitely Ascent Protein is the way to go.
Jonathan, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We're hoping for a very healthy season for you next season, next year, and hope to catch up with you.
Thank you too very much. I appreciate you having me on.
So that was Jonathan Taylor. Nick in Texas, Nick, our buddy, in the chat saying Jonathan Taylor messed up my fantasy football league. And that's Stu, Skip, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Kovacs would know, but he's glad he's healthy in real life.
Yeah, no, I had Jonathan Taylor as well.
Everyone did.
Somebody made a joke to me. Can I tell? This is mean about we love Cooper Kupp and we love Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Today is the fantasy.
Is it Radio Row or Fantasy Disappointment Row?
All stars today.
Yeah, that's not my line. Someone said it to me on a podcast. But I mean, listen, it's not like Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor. Anybody doesn't think they're awesome. So that's fine.
Yeah, they don't want to be hurt, obviously. Yeah. They want to be scoring touchdowns. Of course they do. Also in the chat, if you want to watch us, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Someone has changed their handle to Maggie's Purple Drank Chalice. And now I kind of want one.
I love it. Well, I don't know if that'll help on Radio Row. Maybe it will. I mean, listen, if we get to interview Aaron Rodgers, we'll definitely be on the lean. I mean, there's only one way, or we'll be in a dark room, something.
That's the only way you can connect with him, you know, eye to eye.
Yeah. Our producer, Mike Samper, is wearing a sport jacket, but he's on Purple Drank right now. I mean, he's keeping it together. So
it's a facade.
That's what you do at Super Bowl. You know, you throw some codeine and some cough syrup, and let's go.
And just start talking about protein powder.
Yeah, and then
whatever.
You leave Travis Kelce's dad hanging.
I can't believe I did it. You know, one person said, you left Travis Kelce's dad hanging for a fist bump that I never even saw. You will be the one person that they actually remember this week. Because everyone else is just having these like totally normal interactions with them. That's not going to be memorable at all. I'm the one who snubbed Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce's dad.
That's awesome. I have some big name drops from last night, by the way.
What do you got?
So
you were out and about.
I wasn't out and about. I tripped into this. You know what Rayo's is? This famous upscale restaurant?
Yeah.
They have a mobile Rayo's here with wheels up. got to have dinner with J.J. Watt, Tahani Jones, Carl Banks, Adam Archuleta was there. Let's see, who else? Kevin Kisner, the golfer, was there. A lot of Waste Management golfers were there.
No, but you didn't just get to have dinner. You were like chatting with J.J. Watt. You know J.J. Watt.
J.J. a little bit. J.J. Watt was the ambassador for the event, so he was chatting to everybody, to be fair. And I didn't talk to any of those guys who I just mentioned. I just found out they were there later. But I got to eat free meatballs, which was amazing. And I'm sorry, I'm sitting there. There's this giant plate of meatballs. I almost texted you, said, I know you're probably asleep right now. Get in a car and get to Scottsdale. Do you appreciate a good meatball?
Oh my God! I mean, I'm a human being with blood coursing from my veins, aren't I?
Yeah. So no, my celebrity drops. I didn't actually talk to 95% of those people, but I didn't leave them hanging.
Oh, you did talk to JJ.
No, JJ looks amazing, by the way.
He's only retired like a week ago.
No, I know. I think he's lost 15 pounds. I'm not even.
2 weeks. What's your secret? Not meatballs.
I think he looked chiseled, in the sense that he's going to be like Joe Thomas, where he's going to lose weight. And I'll just tell you, it's not a Tom Brady situation. He's done.
I think he's done.
Yeah.
And he's had way more injuries than Tom Brady, though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And more serious. Yes. Now, I didn't get to ask him, does he go into broadcasting?
He could be the one we don't see coming. Or we do. He's so savvy. But, Tom's out here already getting the, contract from Fox and all of that. JJ could be sneaky. But, I could see JJ doing like a Michael Strahan or Nate Burleson type thing. Maybe not news, but like he could cross over into pop culture.
Well, movies. I mean, he's been in a couple of big ones. He was a soccer coach one, and he's been, and also Howie Long type of action adventure. I'm not kidding.
Maybe
I think
like
that could
Howie
be
Long.
him.
The Rock. Well, that'd be big.
The Rock.
Dave Bautista was in every movie ever now.
Dave Bautista a football player?
I just assume people that big were football players at some
what
point.
has J.J. Watt been in?
Okay, Samter, you're our movie person.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Oh, okay.
Can we get
By the way,
Samter's mic?
you know who's one of my favorite? LeBron in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer is one of my favorite athlete performers.
Okay.
I think LeBron could act too.
But don't you notice one thing that happens in Trainwreck?
What?
You can tell that LeBron probably had a finite number of days that he could shoot Trainwreck.
Oh.
Because he's in the movie a lot up until a certain point, and then Amari Stoudemire kind of takes over and brings the movie home. And it's like he's up to a certain point, and then you never see LeBron again, and it's only Stoudemire.
But he is good at it, though.
Yeah, he is very good at it. Absolutely.
Mike, are you up? Do you have the...
What's J.J. Watt been in?
So he's been in Bad Moms. He was Coach Craig. And he was also in a couple TV shows, The League as himself and New Girl as himself.
Everyone was in The League as himself.
He was also in Billy Lynn's long halftime walk as, quote, football player.
There you go.
What a resume.
Okay. What's it called? Bad Moms? Yeah, he was hysterical in that. Yeah, he'll do
Mila
whatever he
Kunis.
wants.
I didn't see that one.
No. Was that Mila Kunis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So, TJ Watt, I'm not so sure based on our interview last week.
Oh, come on.
I mean, the dude can
He
rush
was
a passer.
awake.
I don't know if he can carry film. Let's just put it that way.
No, we had to carry that interview a little bit. Anyway,
Derek
that's
Watt.
our job. That's
Derek
our job.
Watt's awesome, too.
No shade at all. Coming up next, as we mentioned, we know that we have a massive college football audience. So Hendon Hooker from the Tennessee Volunteers, formerly of Virginia Tech, is going to join us next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row right after this from Andrew Perloff.
For the first time ever, stream the Super Bowl for free. Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One is Sunday, February 12th. Catch all the action on the Odyssey app on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. It's all sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the cause of your check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Back to Maggie and Perloff, and I love when this happens, Perloff. I love when guys who just finished their college season come around to sort of break up all the current NFL guys because we get to see the future of the league, and that's what we have here with Hendon Hooker. Just finished a fantastic season at Tennessee. Unfortunately, you got hurt, Hendon, but 32 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. You gave us some amazing thrills this year in college football. Thanks for doing this.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I noticed, by the way, you walked up the set. No limp. You look great. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great. I'm ready to, get this brace off. It's kind of messing up my outfits, but, I'm moving around really well and, really blessed to, kind of be ahead of schedule, but, continuing to grind every day. I know I'll leave here and go work on my leg. So, I'm excited.
Wait, today here at Super Bowl week, you're going to still be rehabbing full strength?
Yeah, so I'm working out in San Clemente, California, and shout out to Modus for getting me right on a daily basis. But this week, since I'm out here, I'll be working out with some of my teammates at the Exos out here and getting some rehab done there. So, the grind doesn't stop.
Yeah, I mean, this is a time of year where you got to go out and maybe kind of sell yourself to teams. Hendon Hooker is our guest. I mean, we saw you were just down at the Senior Bowl, excuse me. How much do you feel like you have to pitch yourself to teams?
Yeah, half and half, kind of an Arnold Palmer type of deal. So, selling them, hey, I have an incredible football IQ, very personable. And I have a great leadership aspect that comes along with, my athletic ability. So, the tape is already done. I can't go back and change that. But, just showing them how I am as a person is huge.
Lean on the Tennessee connection, because we know that Peyton Manning makes phone calls for friends. And if you need someone to make a phone call on your behalf, can you ask Peyton, like, hey, call some of these teams, tell them how great I am?
Yeah, that would be great, but making my own path is huge as well. Peyton is one of my mentors. Talk to him after every game, and sometimes before the game when he was there, talk to him in person, and then afterwards we'd always text. I also talked to his father Archie a lot as well. Shout out to Manning family for just being great people and embracing me.
Is that why you transferred to Tennessee? Was Peyton involved in that process at all?
He wasn't involved in that process,
okay.
But that it was a great opportunity for me to play, in the SEC. We call ourselves NFL Junior. Being able to play at a high level and have great players around me and a great support system as well.
If I told you coming into the season what kind of year the Vols were going to have, did you see that coming? Because a lot of us did not.
Yeah, I thought we were going to win a national championship, but undefeated. And I knew from our first player-led practice that we had in the summer, we were just doing 7-on-7, and you only get like 6 reps. You get 3 plays, and then the next group comes in, they get 3 plays, and we have 2 fields of doing that. And the first 3 reps looked so good, and everyone was moving so fast and at an elite level. I'm like, man, we're about to be awesome. So I remember just telling everyone that, leading up to SEC Media Day and telling them, hey, we're really going to make a run this year and make a statement.
Well, you obviously did that. Hendon Hooker is our guest. He's joining us on behalf of Bush's Beans, which we'll get to in just a moment. The game against Alabama. Obviously, you have the fumble with under 8 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, and then they turn that into a touchdown. You're down. You put together an incredible drive, come back, take the lead, you win the game. What did that game do for you personally?
It was a very special moment. It was my father's birthday. So I remember him, requesting, hey, I want to win for my birthday. So
just no small thing, little gift.
Yeah, just a nice little gift for him. So to be able to do that and share that with my family and friends, but also, just to make a huge impact on the Vol family and Knoxville as well. So that was the huge win, and I did that for my father and for the Vol Nation.
Yeah, there was a lot of Heisman talk after that win, actually all season long, and then you got hurt. How much disappointment was there that you really couldn't make a full run at that trophy?
Yeah, really disappointed. I control what I can control. So, staying confident in my ability and staying confident, what I put on film. They didn't want to invite me. They didn't want to invite me. So, but those guys also deserve to be invited. Huge fans of all their games. So hats off to those guys, and no hard feelings.
Okay.
But I definitely felt like I deserved to be there.
I mean, everyone's got like their origin story, It's like maybe this is part of yours, right? Almost at the Heisman, if not for getting hurt. And then we'll see what you do in the NFL. I know we're all very, very excited to watch you at the next level. You're 25. So a little different, not your fault. You go through COVID years, you're able to get this eligibility. When you meet with teams, do you think that's going to be a positive because you've worked in 2 different systems at 2 different schools and you have a lot of experience?
Yeah, it's definitely been a positive. Not many teams have really talked about it.
Interesting.
Honestly, so, they want to know how am I as a person and how am I as a player, and my leadership qualities, what I bring to the table, how can I communicate at a high level with my teammates and people around me, and that's what I want to show.
Could it help that you're older, maybe?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Been through a lot more things and seen a lot more ball as well. So, being able to coach different players up on technique and different looks and different situations could definitely benefit.
We always talk about resiliency. Every great quarterback, Tom Brady, 6th-round pick, Russell Wilson was told to leave NC. They all have these incredible stories where they were told they couldn't do something. How do you respond when either someone tells you can't do something or you're in a tough spot?
It's fuel, fuel to the fire. It keeps me going. I love it. I love being doubted. I love being told I can't do something because I'm gonna work my butt off, to make sure that I make a statement and continue to push forward and push past, those expectations.
Hendon Hooker is our guest. He's here on behalf of Bush's Beans, which we know Peyton Manning. There's also a connection there. Yeah. We're going to do a little rapid fire with you later, but tell us, why this is your preferred side dish.
Yeah, so, we kind of have a family recipe that my father kind of passed down to me this past summer, and that's when you've kind of made it to adulthood.
You
get the secret recipe. So, to be able to get that secret recipe and prepare for my friends while we were on just a quick vacation on 4th of July, have it with our things that we put on the grill, chicken, steak, or whatever. But my dad prepares it Christmas, Thanksgiving. I'm sure he'll prepare here on Sunday with some things that he's throwing on the grill.
I grew up with baked beans and hot dogs chopped up in pretty much 3 times a week. Do you guys have that?
No, we didn't, but I'm sure he'll try to invent a little something new.
Now you just gave him something new.
Give it to your dad.
Okay, so let's do a little rapid fire here with Hendon Hooker. We'll give you a little this or that. You tell us what you want. What comes to mind? LeBron or MJ? Saw LeBron obviously become the all-time leading scorer in the NBA last night.
Yeah, so just being from North Carolina, I'm going to go with the MJ guy for sure. But LeBron is generational talent. It's a blessing, just to be able to watch him. I didn't get a chance to really watch Michael Jordan, but I read his book growing up. He had a book called Salt in the Shoes, which he talked about praying over his shoes and putting salt in it at night so that he could grow to be 6'6". Then I used to
do that?
I did. I used to pray and put salt in my shoes. You can ask my mom. She'd go into the cabin and be like, "Where's all the salt?" I'd have it in my shoes. But LeBron is out of this world as well. Shout out to him for getting the scoring.
Related question: Duke or UNC?
UNC. I had a lot of friends that played at Duke. I had some family that played at UNC, but kind of that UNC tree for sure.
Okay, more rapid fire with Hendon Hooker. I think I know the answer to this one. Brady or Manning?
Manning.
Okay, we won't make you expound on that. What is your meat and 3 order?
I think I'm going ribeye, potatoes, and probably Caesar salad. Going Caesar salad.
And you get another side.
I wouldn't go. I think I'd have to go. That's a tough one. I usually just go 2. I go asparagus. So keep it green. Keep it green. Especially now, I've gotten so accustomed to just eating clean, and it just makes me feel so good. So.
That just made us feel very bad. Don't eat clean. Are you a cigar guy?
No, I'm not. I'm not a cigar guy, but definitely for show. If we win, then I'll definitely have one for show.
But not light it, right?
No.
Blue Ridge Mountains or Smoky Mountains?
Smoky Mountains.
All right, there we go. Last one for you. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but obviously Aaron Rodgers is a big astrology guy, right? Sure. So in, a little send up to Aaron Rodgers, what is your astrological sign? Do you know?
Pretty sure I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. What's your birthday?
January 13th.
Okay, you are a Capricorn. Would you like to know your horoscope for today?
Sure, I'd love to know.
Are you into this?
I'm not into it, but I've had some people kind of come up to me and kind of give me some background on what a Capricorn is and what kind of companies.
People are weird. Okay. You will be pleasantly surprised today by new information that helps you make sense of the world. Don't reject it just because it's a bit way out. Does that seem true?
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm always, down to learn new information and, soak up information from any and everybody. You never know when you'll get a gem from somewhere that you could use in life.
What's the most way out thing that someone said to you?
Oh man, it's been a lot of things, thrown at me just from fans. I remember, this might be kind of weird and kind of off topic, but I remember someone was like, would you rather have cupcakes or a cake? And I was kind of puzzled. I was a cupcake or a cake? I was like, essentially it's the same thing, but one is bite-sized and, a little bit cleaner, and the other one, could kind of make a bigger.
I think it's a ratio of how much frosting you have.
I think so.
So I go cupcake.
Yeah, this is why we keep you around. That's a solid take. Yeah, well done. Hendon, on behalf of Bush's Beans, thank you so much, and wishing you the best of luck in the draft process, your rehab, and seeing you at the next level.
Yes, thank you. And you guys can keep these 2 cans of beans.
Oh, you're too kind.
Totally.
All right, Hendon Hooker, Tennessee Volunteers. We are back with more Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row, the Phoenix Convention Center, right after this.
Convention Center, right after this.
Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach. With their easy-to-use mobile app, learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Andy Reid continues to cement his Hall of Fame status more and more each year. He led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, will now face his former team as he goes for a second victory in the big game with the Chiefs. The Reid coaching tree is vast, and he said all of them, and of course his current staff, have had a large part in his success.
I've been fortunate to have good coaches, a little bit what Ruben asked, assistant coaches that work their tail off, and then good players. And normally if you have good coaches and good players, that's a good combination for success.
Derek Carr is looking for a new home and meeting with the Saints today after the Raiders gave permission to New Orleans to meet with the veteran quarterback who still has to sign off on any deal. Injured Bills safety Damar Hamlin wins the Alan Page Award for community service. Kyrie Irving has a fresh start in Dallas and makes his Mavericks debut tonight against the Clippers. After abruptly asking for a trade last week, the Nets complied, tired of a roller coaster 3.5-year relationship. I'm Rich Ackerman.
I'm JR. CBS Sports Radio has moved to SiriusXM Channel 158. Or listen on your local station. Find your local affiliate at Odyssey.com/stations.
CBS Sports Radio.
5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Let's waste no time, Perloff. It's time to get to our Casamigos shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. And today's shot of the day was from our interview with the Hall of Famer Joe Montana, who opened up to us on Tom Brady in his decision to finally retire.
How many more would we have won? As I said, because we handed a team that just should have won 3 Super Bowls in a row to my backup, right? Without any competition, and one of the best seasons I had. Those are things I look at and I think, but it's not about Tom. I mean, watching and enjoying Tom play and have the success he's had, my hat's off to him. Tom's great. I mean, you watch him play, but I think his decision's a good time. I mean, you watch the games there towards the end of the year. It's just his mind's other places, and he's got. It's not like he didn't have a job. He's got a pretty well-paying job after this, doesn't he?
He does have a well-paying job.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to take a bit of a gap year here, and then he's going to go to Fox in 2024 in the fall. Joe saying that, his mind seemed like it was elsewhere. That's what Joe Montana saw in Tom Brady this year. Definitely.
Yeah. By the way, Joe Montana, a guy who could easily be riding motorcycles with George Clooney and
yeah, Randy Gerber.
Gerber.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be very, very comfortable in that world.
Of course, Mike Meldon, Lee Einsadler, the amazing folks at Casamigos. And I'm telling you, Super Bowl parties coming up, starting to plan the menus. It's Wednesday, so now you got to finalize. You got to get to the grocery store, in the next couple of days, get everything. The Casamigos tequila, that is the crowd pleaser because you can mix it, take it on the rocks, neat, whatever you want. nice cocktails, though, for your party. Casamigos website's got all that stuff for you. So.
I mean, listen, we've evolved way past pizza and beer for a Super Bowl party. You need on the food and drink front to really. And you, by the way, you had amazing tacos last night, right?
I did have really good tacos, and props to Mike Samter, actually, who spent some time here in Phoenix. We call those the dark years. Samter in Phoenix, we don't know much about those years. The details are all very sketchy.
Yeah.
Yet he did he did hook me up with a taco joint, so I was able to eat.
Good.
Yeah. I didn't do a marg though last night. I'm going to save that for Friday.
Oh, I love it.
That's going to be my big margarita
boy.
time. So one other quick thing about Joe Montana. So just quickly, Wright Thompson, who's like one of the best sports writers we have in the country now, just did a big profile about Joe Montana. Literally dropped today. We talked about it a little bit with Joe, and you could tell in that clip, still a little miffed that he was traded from the 49ers to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely.
The fact that we talked about this with him, that his relationship with Tom Brady is not like as amazing as I think people make it out to be.
According to the story by Wright Thompson.
According to the story. And you know, Joe talked to Wright Thompson for the story, and just that perhaps there's a little bit of Tom kind of in Joe's head a little bit, as Joe's the ultimate competitor. The idea that someone who idolized you then passed you in everyone's mind is not like the easiest thing to live with.
I find it hard to believe. I have to be honest. Joe Montana has been retired for a long time. Doesn't it become easier? I mean, it has to. And you just see there, Joe Montana has always had an ease. Now, what is interesting to me,
of course.
Joe Cool is on camera. Joe Montana is Joe Cool. Obviously, there's an inner life that we don't have access to that Wright was trying to dive into.
Yep.
But I understand it's hard to retire. Did it really bug Joe? He's Joe Montana.
Yeah, but it's Tom Brady.
It's similar in a way to the MJ LeBron. There was a time when people were watching football and say no one's going to pass Joe Montana, but Brady did it.
Yep.
I still don't think LeBron has passed MJ, but it's interesting because MJ hasn't let up at all either. Michael Jordan is still. Aren't they doing Michael Jordan Day at ESPN in a few weeks?
No, they just did
it.
2/3/23, Michael Jordan Day.
It was that was obviously because of LeBron. I don't know how Michael made that happen, but he did.
The Last Dance, we got 10 hours of Michael Jordan making sure that we all did not forget who he was and his legacy. And I think it's kind of just very human, of Joe Montana. If he really all let this, fall off his back or water off his back or whatever, I think it wouldn't square with the competitor that we saw.
Right.
The comeback, the guy with Captain Comeback.
It's so weird about Joe Montana. He's
not Captain Comeback, the comeback.
He's a split personality because off the field, he's very nice. He comes off as very cool. And you're right, he's like all these guys, an absolute killer.
How about Jeffrey in the tweet? Burrow will be the new GOAT eventually. See, I think Mahomes has he's on the better trajectory.
Well, the health, though, for both of them, the health.
Yeah.
But I think you worry that Mahomes moves around too much. So that's the only thing. It took Brady a long, long time to get these Super Bowls.
No kidding, 23 years.
Yeah, and I don't know if a mobile quarterback can last 23 years.
That's a good question. I mean, listen, Mahomes is going to play with a high ankle sprain in this game. Played with one in the AFC Championship game.
He's not really a mobile quarterback either. He's not.
He just moves around in the pocket. That's kind of what Brady did, though.
Nothing.
Nothing like
gosh.
Mahomes. No,
Mahomes will do 4 spins and then find a guy 60 yards downfield.
No.
Tom Brady has never even dreamed of doing that.
I get it. No, not that. But
Tom Brady took 2 steps to the left because the pass rush was there.
I know, but that was effective.
That was totally effective, but it has nothing to do. Patrick Mahomes also holds the ball forever.
Yeah, which Brady does not do. Brady had the ball out in 0.2 seconds.
There's not a play that Patrick Mahomes doesn't think can be made, and that is why it's going to be hard for me to think that 23 years of that.
I agree with you. I don't know if that could happen, but maybe he's such a good quarterback he could change how he plays. The one thing that not Brady. Rodgers, no, like the arm angles, the wizardry that Mahomes has with that is not. Brady is the same motion every single time.
Well, I think there's a general consensus that Aaron Rodgers is more talented than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I did a show with Bart Scott, who played against both of them. He thought that Rodgers was the more talented.
Yeah, I don't think that's a hot take by any means. And Mahomes is certainly more talented than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes, I think if you're looking at the two most talented I've ever seen, then you got, who was the guy, Trent Dilfer, who said none of these guys are talented, the game is just easy now?
Yeah, and you got an ovation from who was sitting in that crowd. It was like, you know what? gonna applaud this. Like, it made no sense.
Well, the take makes sense. So obviously, playing quarterback is a different animal now than it was. Just look around. I mean,
no, I know it's easier, but that just because it's easier doesn't mean it's easy.
It doesn't mean it's easy, but just look at the numbers. I mean,
yeah, they're
34 touchdowns used to lead the league, and now you probably won't even. Jameis Winston threw 34 touchdowns a year and got cut.
Yeah, because he threw 30 picks.
That's a small detail.
RPC calls him Joe Macaulay Culkin Burrow. Does he look like Macaulay Culkin?
Oh, 1,000%. He looks like an 80s bad guy.
Well, that's true. He looks like he could be the villain like in a high school 80s movie.
Yeah, I think he gets a ton of Macaulay Culkin.
Interesting. Okay, it's time to answer our Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today's question comes from, who is this? Dan in Phoenix, right here in Phoenix. Who is the most famous person you've seen on Radio Row? Don't forget, you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros.
So I usually look out for actors, Michael B. Jordan or somebody like that. I haven't seen anyone like that. It's Wednesday. Maybe they'll be here by Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. Usually the non-sports celebrities usually roll in later in the week.
Yeah, I mean, it's Wednesday. We're starting to see a little bit of that. For me, it's obvious. Rob Gronkowski just got here, and there was a buzz. I'm still looking out. There's 75 people surrounding the little booth that he's doing something for his halftime kicking event.
Yes, right.
There are a lot of, obviously, Joe Montana was on our set earlier. There's something about Gronk that feels special.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because he's like the frat boy, It's like Gronk is the guy who is all the accolades. He'll walk into the Hall of Fame. He has a case for greatest tight end of all time, yet you feel like he could still party and he's still never lost that joie de vivre, like that young person's spirit.
And he's funny, too.
And he's funny.
We had Ron Rivera on USAA, and I was thinking of the Gronk USAA ads, where he's like, wow, you're so lucky. Oh, because I had a baby? Yeah, she's 6 months old. No, because you have a USAA sticker on the back of your car. And I love that USA embraces him, and he's not even a member, and he's trying to get in on the free deal here. What's your deal, Gronk?
Can you not get insurance?
Yeah, I think you can afford insurance. I mean, first of all, Mahomes is out there trying to cut corners to get free insurance. Aaron Rodgers. Why do all the best athletes need better insurance deals? I always wonder that. They should pay full freight, Maggie.
It doesn't make any sense. They're millionaires.
Yeah, Chris Paul, you know how much money he's made? $480 million. Dude needs free insurance? Come on.
It doesn't square. Other famous people we've seen. It's mostly just, famous media people.
Well, I got to tell you, Nate Burleson,
Nate gets a lot of attention.
He gets a lot of attention because I don't think of him as just a sports media person anymore. Now he's bigger.
I introduced him as NFL Today and CBS This Morning and forgot to mention that he played wide receiver in the NFL for like a decade.
Oh, yeah. I think most people know that. Yeah, other than that, I mean...
We still have a not a long way to go, but we still got 2 big shows left in Phoenix.
I mean, I kind of get a lot of attention walking around Radio Row. It's weird if I say it myself.
I'm sorry, should I have brought that up? Perloff gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a little too late for that now, Maggie.
Yeah, I should also tell you, think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Thank you so much, Stu Kovacs, to Mike Samter, to everyone helping us out here on Radio Row, our amazing guests. We will see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.